right, everybody, welcome to episode 149 of Masters of the Forge. I am your half host, Adam, and this is your other half host, Jason.
Hey, Adam. Okay. Hi, listeners. I swear to you, we have not been drinking. We've just Well, night's young. 5 o'clock. Wait, it used to be. What was it? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 2020 all the time. You're good.
It's literally 2020 forever.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's run into some hobby progress, shall we?
Let's do this.
My hobby progress has been surprisingly light. I can't even think of, I've been exercising a lot more, so I'm like, sometimes I have to go at night because baby, so I'm coming home and I'm tired.
Yeah.
And Anyways, excuses. I did manage to paint my homunculus and Rax. I'm really happy with that homunculus. She is so rad, and she looks a lot better. She looks a lot less confusing when she's painted because I put her on top. So like I had extra parts. I had like a rack top half that I put on top of a running witch body, and then I actually took the bottom half of a Ravager, Reaver jet bike legs. So they're crouched.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But all the legs in the witch line are split into two halves. So I took one leg from that and a leg from another one. So one leg is outstretched and one is curled up.
Oh, okay.
And she's kind of being wrapped. That's the actual homunculus, and she's being kind of carried around Bartertown style, and it's freaking awesome. And I gave her the old 2nd or 3rd edition warrior/witch head, which is a weird Oogie Boogie style helmet. It's amazing. I love this model, and I'll tell you what, those racks are gorgeous. I love that rack kit. The detail is gorgeous. It's really good. So I painted those racks, and I actually used them in a game, which I'll talk about later. I also built the Venom. Jeff sent me another Venom he had lying around. He's the person I made the terrain for in exchange for a bunch of Drukhari stuff.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I really haven't done anything else. I haven't made any purchases. It's really, like I said, it's you know what I have been doing? I've been working a hell of a lot on. So like this episode had quite a bit of creative work for it for the all on your tabletop section. Also, I put a lot of effort into the scenarios for Zone Mortalis 9th edition. So that's almost that's almost done. And I think I'm actually going to temporarily cut out the Crusade upgrade section because I don't know if I'm going to have time to do it anytime soon. So I think I'm just going to publish that and send that to TC Repo to have it posted.
That's cool.
Other than that, I'm pretty good.
Awesome.
We're okay down here. How are you? Everything's fine here.
I'm sending up troopers now. All right, let's see.
A large leak, very dangerous.
There's no reactor in that area.
Oh, there is. Its name's Quinn.
All right, let's see. Hobby progress. I haven't had a whole lot either, just because this is that wonderful time of the semester, the year where no one sees me. So I haven't gotten a whole lot built or whatnot. I did finally finish that war suit. I ordered a new bit for the baby carriage, as I was calling it. From Pop Goes the Monkey. It looks really good. I like this bit.
Yeah, that bit looks like the sarcophagus of a regular dreadnought, correct?
Yeah, it does, and I really really dig it. So I think we were talking about this on one of our hobby hangouts, which I don't think I put down that we did hobby hangouts. Oh well, that the new rules are included with some of the new kits, and I have the new rules for 9th edition for the war suit. I won't go into them, but the icons they aren't too terribly difficult to comprehend. There's one rule that's kind of odd, but I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to complain about it. I did finish building it, and I might, and I haven't decided yet, magnetize the torso at the hip. One to help it with painting, and also I can like pose it as the game goes on. I've done with the Redemptor a while back. I have made a couple of purchases. One of our locals decided that he was going to dump all of his old Warhammer stuff, like all of it, including like some major old Hammer stuff. So I picked up a metal Fate Weaver model, the short one, which I think is pretty cool. I had to go through and do some repair work on it just to put the wings back on, but it just needs to be primed and painted and ready to go. I also picked up 9 Defcoptas, which I thought you would appreciate. Also 9 Finecast Flamers, and I finally got that Daka jet that I ordered back, I think, in June. So yeah,
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
yo, 9 Defcoptas is like finding buried treasure.
Are you serious?
That's amazing.
Yeah,
those are so cool, and they're fun. They're fun models. They're a little like the blades are very brittle. If you have some paper clips, go ahead and just cut little pieces of, like little lengths of paper clip, and glue them underneath the chopper blades where they attach to the center hole. Just for a little additional support, that's all.
Okay. Yeah, these are primed, so I could add... I mean, it's orcs. I can go through and add all sorts of crazy stuff and to support them. So.
Yeah, just keep in mind that attachment for where the blade attaches to the the central agitator is just not not strong.
Interesting. 3 of them, the blade assembly, the four blades, that's popped off from the main body, but okay, so I'll they're over there, so yeah, those.
But yeah, that's a great find, dude.
That's cool.
I love that model.
All right, I'm glad, because like I thought, you know what, let's do the Orc Air Force, because why the hell not? And I got a good price for them, so. Because I mean, the people who were selling were just like, yeah, you'll use these. We'll see these on the table soon. Future hobby stuff. I'm bringing out my old Tyranid Demon Prince. He's been primed. Well, he's been base coated. He's had some shade and some fades on him from airbrushing. But I need to go through and hit the details to really make him pop. So, it's time I get that one done. So, but yeah, that's my hobby progress for the last few weeks. How about games played? Should we talk about games played?
Yeah, we have some games played.
Yeah, both of us.
Both of us do. Yeah, we played a game together on...
Yes.
I flew down to... we fired up Tabletop Simulator, and we set up a super sweet battlefield with some trees, and apparently if there's little fans that you can put in Tabletop Simulator that actually blow air across the table.
That was really cool too.
How neat is that?
Seriously, that was just something completely different.
Yeah, we had like a grassy field, and all the grass was waving back and forth, and the trees, like cherry blossoms were floating out of the trees, and it was cool as hell. Yeah. And we had a battle there. So you played the defender, I played the attacker. We played used the theater of war, the webway, which we'll talk more about later in detail. But we used that theater of war. We were playing a mission called Supply Drop. It's a crusade mission that is basically you determine throughout the game which objectives are live. Like you'll remove one and then the other. I think it was on turn 2 and turn 3 you would remove one, something like that, or 3 and 4. Yes, it was 3 and 4. And by turn 5, you know which one is the main one, and you got more victory points for holding objectives as the game progressed. I thought that was really cool, and I think it made a lot of sense for the kind of scenario we're going for, because we're looking to kind of play out the Drukhari and Thousand Suns meeting in the webway. And it was just really a cool kind of setup for a narrative game. Do you want to talk about your army?
Yeah. All right. So this was a crusade game, so that we can start building stuff up. And I'm now referring to that. Well, I haven't really named that list yet, but I'm kind of calling it Dressar Karum and his happy dying demons. So I had a sorcerer on a disc. Do you mean let's talk about the list, or kind of what these guys did?
I would say let's tell folks what we brought first.
Okay, so I brought my sorcerer on a disc. I think he had a plasma pistol and a staff. I brought horrors, a helldrake, and 6 screamers.
Yeah, those were pretty cool. Those were pretty cool. For my part, I had my. You know what? I have my. I thought I had my sheet here, and I can't find it. Oh wait, here it is. The Refugees of Disdain.
Oh, there we go.
So these are the this is the warband that kind of fled the tower, the Pinnacle of Disdain, and they are Cabal of the Dying Sun / Cult of the Cursed Blade, kind of working together as a piratic group, but they haven't met yet. So like this is just the cult, the witch cult, led by Kimosnia Volpinos, and she's kind of wandering aimlessly, searching for her co-conspirator, who also escaped into the webway, but through a different portal. So they've been kind of wandering around in the webway looking for resources, and they think they've found a good, they've come across this verdant field, and there are plants. We actually had like an aloe plant and a big flower, and we increased the size of them. Like we scaled them up to be really huge, and then we put little light sources in them so that they definitely looked like objectives.
Yeah,
and they had some kind of magic.
Those light sources in Tabletop Simulator, if you guys use that, those light sources are amazing.
Yeah,
they're basically really cool. It's OSL is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And it definitely focused those plants. Those plants were definitely objectives, but we weren't sure which one we really wanted. So the light would fit. We deleted the light when they were no longer active until there was only one light left, one lit up one. That one has all the drugs. That one's the one that can be purified into the drugs. So yeah, Kimosina Volpinos, she had the Stim Addict Warlord trait at the time, and she was accompanied by Sasha's Raiders, which are 10 witches. And I believe that they had Sasha's Raiders have Hydra Gauntlets. That's correct, Hydra Gauntlets. And then along with them were Nissa's Flayers, who are another 10 model witch unit, they had the like the flensing blade, razor flails. That's what they're called, razor flails. Then we had the Furies of Disdain. That's the 5 model Scourge unit. They're pretty cool. And then we had Lady Hexus's Harriers, which is a 3 Reaver jet bikes. And that was my 25 power rating force. So we had Ephemeral Interference that we rolled for our twist, and that reduced the AP of shooting by 1.
Yeah.
Because there was just like a lot of weird energies in the way. Then the other special rule for the webway is ghost blades. I guess for some reason, like, the webway is filled with this strange energy that empowers melee weapons. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but it gave 6's auto hit and wound when you hit. And that actually worked out pretty well, I think, for both of us.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
We had the Labyrinthine Dimension for our Battlefield Twist, Empiric Symphona as our mysterious objective markers. That allowed you to manifest an additional psychic power, I believe, as long as you were near. And the
got brutal.
Labyrinthine Dimension we didn't end up using, though I should have, I think, because that lets you leave the battlefield and then come back anywhere on the battlefield, along the battlefield edge. So you get to kind of like jump out and jump back in.
I think that might have helped you a bit there, although
it's such a cool rule. It makes so much sense for the webway that you can just leave the battlefield and then come back somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a duh. Really great idea. Then the terrain trait that we rolled was the Maze of Future Lamentations, where you could see the future of your death. So you're either so sure that you're not going to die because you've seen your death that you have no inhibitions, or you've seen your death and it's here and now, so you might as well fight as hard as you can. Right. It basically just lets you fight first if you're wholly within the terrain.
I remember that now. Yeah. I was trying to remember that. I was like, oh yeah, that is right. Okay.
For our agendas, I picked Search for Archaeotech. So that was a thing. Yeah, if one of my models or one of my units performed an action in your deployment zone, searching around for more drugs, I would have gotten more victory points. I was too busy trying to stab you in order before, to be able to score that.
To do that, yeah. My agenda was Reaper, aka Get Off My Lawn.
Yeah, it's like whichever model killed the most, right?
Yeah. Received what is it? 1 or 2 extra experience points. I can't remember.
Something like that. It was pretty good though. So for deployment, we had the Helldrake, the Screamers, 1 Witch Squad, and Scourges go into reserve for various reasons.
Yeah.
Some of them because they can anyway, some of them using the strategic reserves.
Was that part of it that had like half of your list had to be in reserves? Or close? I think that was part of the... Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. But we did put
either
in
way.
Quite a bit.
We did that. Yeah, we did reserve quite a bit. So on turn 1, you kind of pushed forward pretty quickly with your horrors and your sorcerer, and I was kind of playing pussyfoot around. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you grabbed that one objective.
I did. I got the aloe. And it was delicious, but it was way too wholesome. We did try to kill a few horrors, but and the Scourges did the fire and fade. They came in, they flew in, and zap, 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 and then flew away, which was pretty cool. But man, a lot of horrors appeared, disappeared, and then appeared again. That was rough.
Yeah, they're pretty rough. I'm thinking I need to, if I'm going to be nice, I need to think about what I'm going to do with those horrors in the future.
Yeah, I feel like that the spawning is a bit too much.
Yeah.
But then what else would they do? So we're going to have to, I don't know, we'll have to think about how to use the horrors in narrative play. We've already decided if we do any summoning, we're going to spend power level to summon things in.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's a middle ground we can use. So, like, maybe you pay half the amount for spawning horrors or something. We'll keep you all posted on what house rules we decide to come up with. I would hate to lose the spawning. Yeah, because I think that's fun.
Yeah,
I think there's at the same time it was a lot.
Yeah, because I mean we're talking about the game as we go, but I mean they just would not die. No. And I remember rolling just dice and dice and dice, and then once it was all done, it was like, okay, well, you've lost essentially like 3 or 4 pink horrors because it went you pink lost to blue, then embers, then
you lost 4 pink horrors, but I had to kill 4, 12, 19 models to get there. It was really tough, but it was fun. It wasn't like abusive or anything. It was just lots of fun. So
it just took a while. Yeah,
it really did, and I ended up trying to tie them up, but because they do slap. They're just slap fighters, Yeah. So tying them up is really a great way to go. But it wasn't really enough at the end of the day. We had to flee the battle. And you decided that Nis's flares, since you decided that my warlord, who actually charged in like a hero as she usually does, should get the additional bonus experience. Yeah, I can't remember who on your side got the bonus experience. Was it your warlord too?
Okay, so are we talking about what everyone did now, or
yeah?
All right. Basically, the sorcerer, he just killed everything.
He really did. He murdered all of my things.
And it wasn't that he just did it with one thing. It was everything, like mind bullets, just smiting. And then he would heal himself.
Oh,
because he's a jerk.
Yeah, because he was Zinch, right? So he has a special spell that lets him heal himself. Right?
Yeah, what was it? Temporal. What was that called?
Oh yeah, he doesn't heal himself. He goes back in time and doesn't make that mistake.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And
I'm pretty sure your Puritan Inquisitor would not appreciate what he's doing right now.
No. My Puritan Inquisitor's all about shooting him up now. But yeah, mind bullets, shooting with the plasma pistol, assault. I mean, he basically did almost everything in the game.
Dude, he seriously, he tanked an entire combat patrol of witches.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. He did great.
The horrors, we've talked about the horrors, how they, they just kind of died. They didn't kill anything.
No.
I don't think they killed a single one of your models.
I think they slowly ground the scourges with attrition.
Did they? Okay.
But eventually, the last model of the Scourge squad, however, was killed by the sorcerer. So,
that's kind of how it all went. It's if they got close enough to the sorcerer, then it died. That was just kind of how it went. The Helldrake, it hung out in reserves because we kind of forgot reserves. And the Helldrake I don't think it did much, did it?
No, he didn't. He came in and he shot me with fire, and I'm like, that hurts good. That hurts so good. I like it.
That's right. So, he unloaded everything into your or was it your witches or your scourges?
It was my second. Nothing. It was Nis's flares, and they were like, I like this. Keep shooting me with fire, Daddy. So yeah, it was really interesting. So yeah, you definitely took the victory. You took the ground, and I did not get my extra drugs. I'm very upset about not getting the drugs. We'll have to plan another game before our next recording.
Yeah.
So we can talk about it. Although our next recording is episode 150, and
we've got to figure that one out first.
I talked to Matt today of Adeptus Terra, and I expressed my interest in maybe if they wanted to come on and have some drinks with us, that would be cool.
That's the way 150 should be. It should not be completely sober. I mean,
it certainly hey, it's 2020 all day.
That's right.
All the time. Right. So as far as games are, I did have a few more 500-point games for the COVID League, which was fun. The Flipside Gaming League we're doing socially distanced and onto mostly tabletop simulator or with close friends. It also has a hobby component. It's not really super competitive. Although the last game I had, woof. My buddy brought a Bloodthirster and three squads of Nurglings. Not only was it Bloodthirster, he used the Exalted Bloodthirster, whatever rules, from Engine War.
Yeah.
Woof. That was spicy. Fortunately for me, it was a melee army, and witches.
Yeah.
Sometimes you roll the 4-ups.
Yeah.
And I was rolling the 4-ups like nobody's business. So that was a fun game.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And that was definitely match play. These are all like mostly match play. And I had my first 2,000-point match play game against Kendrick. He came over to my house. We did Mask Hammer in my garage. And it's one of those breezeway garages. So I have a door on the front and the back. And I just opened up both doors. And it was a beautiful night, like 64 degrees. Oh, my gosh. It was a great time. We had so much fun playing that. I took the Alliance of Agony for my Drukhari. So I took the Homunculus for the first time and her coterie. And I also had witches, and I had warriors, and a triad of pain. And boy, was there pain. I took a butt whooping from the White Scars. They're so fast. Right. Well, that's just it. Witches are fast.
Yeah.
Our Drukhari are fast, so are White Scars. But you know what White Scars have? 3-up saves, which is pretty great. Pretty great.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They certainly do. So, but it was a fun game. I love playing with Kendrick.
Did Kendrick mention the new bikes? Is he excited about those? Or?
Oh, he is excited about the new bikes, and he had a unit of them in the list.
Oh, good.
He brought a couple of units of assault intercessors in impulsors, and he brought a Storm Raven.
Oh,
fun story! Storm Ravens are still real good with all those shooting. Two Hurricane Bolters. That's a lot of shots. That's a lot of shots. So
yeah, I've got a Storm Raven sitting behind me.
I love Storm. Look at they're so cool looking, and it's perfect. He had a very, very thematic White Scars list, and I had a theme. I mean, it was a match play game, but we both took lists that were thematic for our armies. So. You know, it was definitely a feel-good match play situation.
Well, I'm glad that they've got the new bikes out, because I know that. I mean, whenever I think of Kendrick, I always kind of think White Scars.
Oh yeah,
like he's always run bikes, or at least I only remember the lists he had bikes in them. So
yeah, and my goal is next time. Remember, my 2 airplanes have missiles, which I forgot.
Oh,
that's not why I lost. I lost because I'm terrible. So. Jason, can you flip the reverb switch?
Well, we're not going to talk about my games.
So you want to hit the reverb switch? Hold on, I'll hit it.
Here we go.
Beyond the free Beyond the Fringe.
All right, there we go.
We have been We went camping last week. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It felt really good to just get out of the house with the baby, and we had a really nice time at my in-laws. They have an annual place where they have a camper in the Adirondacks, and it was really nice to just get away from it.
Good.
It was nice. I highly recommend it to anyone because you can kind of do that social distance. That's a thing. Yeah. You're all in your own campsite. You can choose to interact if you want, but we chose not to. Yeah. And there was they have a beach on the river. I got up and ran every other day. It was wonderful.
That's good, man. You need that.
Nice, oh, yeah. The quiet.
You need the break. Yeah.
It's nice. It's really nice. What have you been up to, dude?
So this is Beyond the Fringe. So I'm going to go with X-Noise noise removal plugin again. I know I've done that on 2 other occasions, but let's just say that heat leads to fans lead to noise leads to suffering, etc. That's just how it has to be. I think everyone has figured out that I'm, a sound guy. And so I had to go and deactivate X-Noise off my old machine and put on this new machine. But it's such a great plugin. It picks up it'll pick up what you think it shouldn't, or what you don't think it could. So, yeah. And that's under Waves, the Waves plugin. I think I don't know which one it was. Maybe Diamond or Gold. I don't know.
Right. Well, Jason, I kind of, I feel like there's no reason for you to have never mentioned unread emails as you're Beyond the Fringe. I feel like you should someday, right? X-Noise has gotten 3 mentions, and you have yet to mention the glory of unread emails.
Oh, would you like me to talk about that real quick?
Sure. If you would, what number are we sitting at the moment?
Okay, so we are currently, hold on. If you are someone who does not like to see unread emails above 100,
those are rookie numbers.
Those are rookie numbers. You need to sit down right now. Currently, I'm sitting at 45,493 unread emails. Yeah. Which one of my friends actually texted me and said, "Hey, man, those are rookie numbers. You need to get that up." So, which terrified me. One of my former teachers was like, "I've got 90,000. I'm like, "Whoa, okay." I'm not going to brag on that one.
somewhere hidden among those 90,000 unread emails is a desperate cry for help. And with that dark thought, let's take a quick break, come back, and we'll talk about Theaters of War from the Pariah book. Damn, I knew it was around here somewhere. Damn, where is it?
Can I help you?
Ah! Scared me.
What do you seek?
I need the perfect scenario for a narrative game I'm running this week, and I can't find one.
Sir, this is the Black Library. We don't have narrative scenarios.
Well, then where should I go?
Might I recommend the Tabletop Campaign Repo?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo? What's that?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo is an ad-free site for hosting resources related to playing tabletop miniatures wargaming.
Oh, like scenarios?
Absolutely. Also, event packs, custom objectives, tracking sheets, custom terrain rules, maps, icon packs, award templates, and more.
Oh, and this is for Warhammer 40k?
Among other things. There's also Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and others. They're always open for content submissions for any system, even non-Games Workshop materials.
Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like a great way to save all of this great content the community makes. A lot of that stuff often ends up disappearing into a dead message board or Facebook group.
Exactly. It's a real community effort.
Great. So, how do I get there?
Just go to that webway gate marked tcrepo.com.
Tcrepo.com. Got it. Can I ask you one more question before I go?
Fire away.
This place is really easy to find. How come Armand can never find it?
Oh, because it's more funny that way.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Once again, the Tabletop Campaign repository can be found at tcrepo.com, and they're always looking for submissions.
Greetings, mofos.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 hour a night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det ikke en bikkje, det en slags ting. Den imiterer en bikkje, men det ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said. All right, welcome back. So in this episode, our main topic, or I guess the topic, is Theaters of War from the Pariah book. So I think that this is something that people aren't going to read word for word. They're not going to go through and be like, read it like a novel.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot here. So I think it might be a good service to chat about what each rule is, or what each option is, and maybe like reflect on it as we go. So each theater of war, I'll give the guts of each of the theaters of war. They have special rules. Not all theaters of war have each of these categories, but these are the categories that come up. Special rules. So these are things that apply at all times for all games. If you want, you might want to say, oh, well, certain factions might not be affected by these special rules, or any of the rules really, as we go. Mm-hmm. We actually have a custom stratagem for that on your tabletop portion of this. Then there are battlefield twists. This is a random table that players either choose from. That would be like the most suitable one to use for your narrative, or you can just roll randomly. Mm-hmm. And then that rule applies for the entire game. Sometimes the battlefield twist affects specific things on the battlefield, like terrain or objective markers. But those actually have their own tables if the terrain or objective markers are a major function of the theme for that theater of war. So we also have mysterious objective markers, and of which there are two types. One of them, there's a random table that determines what all of the objective markers are going to be like. Or there's a table that tells you to roll for each objective marker, and it'll have a different feature for each one. So, and sometimes you will discover what that feature is when you are the first one to come upon the objective marker, and sometimes you'll know at the beginning of the game what each objective marker is. It really depends on what makes sense for that theater of war. So if it's like a spooky, ephemeral thing, then maybe you should keep it secret what those objectives are. But if it's like machinery that you can easily see, like, yes, that is a grav wave generator, of course why would I not think that's what it is? Because I've seen those before. So, it's just a matter of what makes the most sense for your scenarios. Then they might have terrain traits. So unlike the battlefield twists, which generally apply to the whole battlefield or might single things out once in a while, the terrain traits are specific to terrain. Again, it's another random table that's rolled or chosen on. And it's usually applied to all the terrain features except for buildings, and usually not hills either. It'll say one way or the other on the specific terrain feature or a specific table. I think there might be one or two where you roll for each terrain feature. But for the most part, it's you roll once and all the terrain features have that trait. Then there are usually 2 stratagems you can use. On, I think one of them, there's a combatant conditions, where the infantry have special rules applied to them because of the weird situation that they're in. And I could see that happening for some very specific theaters of war. And there's also environmental conditions, which sounds like battlefield twists, but sometimes you want to split those out and have them running simultaneously. So say you had like cursed ground as a battlefield twist. So the ground you're on is cursed or whatever. Or better yet, let's call it zero gravity or whatever. So that could be a battlefield twist. But then you'd also want like meteor shower as an environmental condition. Something like that. When we get to it, you'll see the differences between them. The battlefield twists are very randomly, like, they could be anything. They literally could be anything. And everything kind of spawns from the battlefield twists. And do note, like, there were theaters of war in the past, and then like lots of other special rule variants of theaters of war throughout 8th edition. And I think the rules writers just kind of got a little mixed up about how they wanted to apply special battlefield rules.
Yeah.
And it got a little confusing. So if we just tell people, okay, if you want to tune up your battlefields, go ahead and just pick a theater of war. Some of the rules might be duplicated from other theaters of war every once in a while. I mean, there's only so many ways you can describe trembling earthquakes, So expect there to be overlap, but at least you don't have to go searching in many different locations for rules. So Jason, do you want to start us off by talking about the Webway, which is the theater of war we used in our last game together?
Yeah, let's do that. All right, so the Webway correlates to the narrative of Phoenix Rising. And I was kind of thinking about this, whenever I was looking at this last night. Would be nice is like to create some sort of, I don't know, maybe some sort of structures that are maybe like Wraithbone, but not really, using plasticard that like curves and is thin and kind of web-like to represent, one of the special rules, which is ephemeral interference. I think maybe that could work. Or, I was thinking as we were talking about how we did our game, having maybe tea lights to use as like objective markers, or at least as the basis of them.
Stick them in the terrain and put some batting over them, so you can get a big bag of stuffing, like teddy bear stuffing, at Michael's for like $3, and that makes you get great use out of that for a narrative game. Yeah,
and I'm just I'm trying to think of what the Webway is. The Webway is just kind of this. Sorry to use ephemeral again, but it's kind of almost smoky, but then not. But then it seems to be very almost different for each every time you encounter it.
Ethereal, but also solid. It's Come with me, and we'll be in a world of pure imagination.
Exactly. I mean, you could say that Willy Wonka's chocolate factory is part of the Webway.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, especially with the chocolate river. But let's get back to...
That's what they called me back in the day.
And check, please. Okay. So let's talk about the special rules of the Webway. We have ephemeral interference, which reduces the AP of ranged weapons by 1 to represent weird atmosphere and effects.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost blades. These same energies have a tendency to permeate everything and also affects melee weapons, making them, giving them kind of an ethereal quality. So natural 6s automatically hit and wound. Right. Which in our game, that actually helped me a few times. So
some of these can be tough to remember. I would recommend kind of jotting them down and putting them right on the table on like a note card or something, so everybody always remembers.
And then with the battlefield twists, like I'm looking at this one, it's like, oh yeah, the labyrinth dimension. So it's easy to get lost in the Webway, so reserves don't come in on turns 1 and 2 unless you roll a 4 up, which is kind of what happened to us.
Yeah, that we had some big delays in our game.
Yeah. Yeah. Then Shattered Spar, and the part of the Webway you're in is badly damaged, and the Imperium is leaking in here. The chaos means players can't gain or refund command points. Yeah. That could have been terrible. That
could have been terrifying. Yeah, it's part of the Webway that is like leaking chaos, which is awesome.
Yeah. Then Zephyr Stride Matrix. Presumably there's some kind of technology which increases the speed of individuals who traverse the Webway here. At first, it seemed like this was a bit lazy, but it makes sense that this is kind of technology would exist in a Webway, like a horizontal conveyor in an airport. So you would add 1 to advance and charge rolls.
Right.
What would actually be fun is if like you had to go like a minimum distance.
Yeah.
Like,
like
conveyor. So it's like you have to go that far, and if you if you miss, fine. That's just how it goes.
It's like you're fighting on Rainbow Road in Mario Kart.
Exactly. I think that would be it would add a lot of chaos, but that's the type of game I like to play. Yeah.
So you'll note that these are those. So just to give an example, these battlefield twists are very generic. They don't really. It's not specifically weather or specifically objective based. They're just effects that represent the nature of the region that you're in.
Yeah. We then have mysterious objective markers, and these are the beginning of the game variety.
Right.
First up is a runic seal. The Aldari created zones of protection against any warp incursion to the Webway, and these seals provide a 5-up invul save for models within 3 inches. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty good, especially if you have, I don't know, I guess maybe horrors that are just sitting there.
Yeah, it puts you on the same par as demons.
Yeah, pretty much. Which, sometimes that's kind of what you need. Psionic nodal conduit. The objective markers on the battlefield act as psychic relays, allowing a psyker within 6 inches of the objective to measure from any objective on the battlefield when determining visibility and range for their powers.
That's awesome.
So I just want to make sure that I'm reading this right. The psyker can cause a power to go off on another side of the table. If the psyker is it was one by one conduit and the other conduit is on the other side of the table.
Yep, it's very similar to the umbral spell portal from Age of Sigmar.
Oh, okay.
Where you set it up, you cast a spell into one side of the umbral spell portal, and then it comes out the other side.
Can you imagine how brutal my sorcerer would have been if they had that?
Oh yeah, but I love this. This is a cool. So there were a couple of really neat uses of objective markers in this. So this is partially why they don't have a mysterious objective marker, different one for each marker for some of these. Because if that were the case, then this wouldn't do anything. You just have 4 different ones instead, or 4 or 6 or whatever. Instead, all of the objective markers are this nodal conduit, and you can shoot magical energies through them.
Wow.
And it's neat. It's a really neat way to use objective markers. I would have never thought of it myself.
I like it. It's brutal.
We should use that. We should use that in our next game.
All right. Empiric Siphon. So psychic energy courses through these strange crystalline devices, and psychers can use them to manifest one additional power per turn within 6 inches.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we had in our game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why he was doing that. I couldn't remember why I had that role. But I mean, he never moved more than... I mean, once he jumped on that center objective, it was just kind of... He never moved.
No.
So,
right. You know, those small 500-point games, the objectives are so close to each other.
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing, too. I mean, I think if, you know, it was a larger point game where you actually had to, like, move across the table, that would be something else.
Mm-hmm. Well, it would make the conduit even better.
Yeah, it
would. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So what about terrain traits on the... Because I'm very interested... Like, terrain is weird in the webway. It's semi-real.
Yeah, that's... You know, as I'm reading this, I keep thinking, you know, how could you create objectives, then how could you create terrain that's... So, you know, first up is ethereal constructs. So the terrain on the battlefield is illusory. Ugh. Let's see if that's actually pronounced that correct. Or exists in a quantum state. I got that. All right. Each player picks 3 terrain features at the start of the battle round, and they randomly determine which one phases out and won't provide cover that round. Oh, I like that.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, that is sweet. That's really, yeah. I mean, I'd hate to.
I think they have a hard time doing abstract stuff. So in our if we were playing a narrative game, I would suggest maybe we even like pretend it's not even there.
Yeah.
Like actually make it transparent so you could actually target things that normally wouldn't be targetable.
Oh yeah, that'd be funny. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Or you know, for a hobby you could go through and create
lucite terrain features that you can swap them out with. That would be amazing.
Oh wow. Just have to go find lucite now. Okay. All right. Psychocrystalline transduction circuit. Wow, that was a lot of syllables. Yeah. The terrain is actually a part of the webway itself, woven in and resonating with the very material of that realm, providing a +1 to psychic test within 6 inches.
Mm.
Yeah, I was thinking about that lucite. Sorry, as I was reading that, you know, you'd go through and have like a lucite, like terrain piece, but you know, have a tea light at the base of that.
Oh,
so it's kind of flickering.
Cool. That would be cool. Or LEDs.
Or like LEDs.
String them on the bottom.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. Do I really want to go to Amazon right now? No, we got to finish the episode.
We have to start the episode.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, we are on page 5 of 20 of notes, and we've got that other thing too. All right, so Webway of Future Lamentations. The ruins in this part of the Webway are shrines to your future, almost a living mausoleum, either reassuring you that you'll live on or predict your death here. Either way, the shrines provide enough insight to let the units wholly within to fight first. I like that one.
So if you get charged, you actually have to trade off fighting. So stratagems. The stratagems are my favorite part, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. First up is Inheritors of the Webway, 2 CP. Aldari have great knowledge of the ways and can scout at the start of the first battle round, but not within 9 inches of enemy, I guess.
I probably should have done that one.
Yeah.
I probably should have started a unit of witches like right there.
Yeah.
And then scouted them up all the way up the middle of the battlefield. You know, even if I went second, I think it would have been a good idea.
Yep. And then we have Arterial Linkway, 2 CP. Units can duck into a passageway and come back again. Remove a unit wholly within 6 inches of the battlefield edge at the start of the movement phase, then return it wholly within 6 of the battlefield edge at the end of the next one, not within 6 inches of an enemy unit.
Yeah, so but you can get really close to an enemy unit when you do that because you're like Boo, sucker!
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Very true. Very, very, very true.
So as you guys can see, that it really adds a lot of flavor to the webway. Feel free to double up on some of this stuff. If you want to use 2 twists, go ahead. Who cares?
Yeah. I think it'll be fun. I think there'll be some real interesting chaos you can do just with a couple of twists in there.
And you can do a whole campaign with this. There are so many combinations. You may have the same battlefield twist a couple of times, but you'll pair it with something different each time. So I think that's cool. So the next we have the War-Torn Shrine World. This one is based on Tacitus from the Faith and Fury book. Mm-hmm. The designer's note recommends that you play with plenty of Imperial fortifications and ruins for this one, just because it makes sense for... And a lot of these, the rules that are presented, like the special rules, play off of the kinds of terrain that you would expect to see. Yeah. So if the designer's note recommends that type of terrain, you should have that type of terrain.
Yep. And if you're looking for some of that terrain, I know a company that sells a lot of it.
Right. That's a good point. So there's only one special rule for the War-Torn Shrine World. It's called Constant Bombardment. You select 3 units at the start of your turn. On a 5, it takes a mortal wound. On a 6, it takes D3. Small characters you don't roll for, though. Mm-hmm. So it's just it just represents just this constant blasting of the region indiscriminately. It doesn't matter who. Then for the twists, there are actually 6 battlefield twists in the War-Torn Shrine World.
Yeah, I saw that. That was a lot.
Yeah, it is quite a bit, but it doesn't feature any terrain traits. Mm-hmm. So it's really just implying that, and I think even in here, some of the twists seem to affect terrain. So instead of layering a twist plus terrain traits like some of these do, this just has twists. So you're not going to be layering a terrain trait on top of anything else.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So some of them are a little simpler, depending on what other things are going on. It must have taken a lot of thought and balance these for complexity. It's fun to layer on multiple rules, but sometimes it's a little much. Yep. You have to decide when's the right time for that. So, prepared positions. Any units other than Titanic and aircraft get the benefit of cover until they move. Mm-hmm. Auto martyrdom. Mines laid by faithful who believe the Emperor will guide their footfalls deal 1 mortal wound to any unit who advances and rolls a 1 on a d6.
Wow.
So yeah, you take mortal wounds for running and charging.
Is this on the unit or numbers of model per the unit or
unit? Just by unit.
Okay.
Yeah,
so that's not too bad. Okay.
No, just somebody. One model steps on a mine and gets taken out. Fortified catacombs. So underneath the battlefield, there are these ancient catacombs of the dead, and the way to the battlefield can be accessed through these forgotten tunnels, allowing infantry or swarms to be set up in deep strike. Now, again, this might be a thing where you let the defender do this, but not the attacker, or vice versa. Maybe the attacker has found these catacombs and is using them to strike at the enemy. It might have been forgotten by the actual denizens of the city, but the enemy searched it out, or if they knew about it from maybe a traitor among the defenders. Who knows? There's lots of story ideas for these fortified catacombs. Just this one little rule can spawn so many ideas.
Yeah.
Darkened skies, due to the constant bombardment of ordnance and the burning of spires and smoke, and the other obscurement causes the battlefield to go dark on a 5+ roll checked at the start of every turn. After that, infantry and swarm can't be targeted by ranged attacks unless they're within 18 inches. So it's dark out.
Yeah. Many things are thrown into the atmosphere.
Yes. Then we have Aura of Humble Saints. Due to the increase of psychic mutation in the world, it's far easier to tap into the Immaterium by psychers. So they all get a +1 to psychic tests. The text says within 3 inches of an objective marker, but I don't know if that's a copy paste error because we already have we have mysterious objective markers. Yeah. So I think maybe that's and it doesn't and it doesn't say it doesn't imply that there are regions of the battlefield that have psychic mutation increase. It's just the world itself. So I don't know. I don't think it makes sense to tie that to objective markers. The next one is the Emperor protects with ferrocrete and iron. Ruins on this region are actually very sturdy, and any -1 AP weapons are resolved as AP 0.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Mm-hmm. We do have a mysterious objective table. These are progressively revealed. So you have the Altar of War. It's an altar to modern warfare, and provide +1 wound for heavy weapons for the unit controlling it, which I thought was interesting. Defensible locale represents a place has been set up with physically defensible structures, or archaeotech. So I would actually set up some additional terrain here after you figure out that it's a defensible locale. Either way, the unit controlling it gets to reroll 1s to hit in the shooting phase, because they're unafraid of the enemy shooting back at them.
Right.
The Holy Relic, much like the Altar of War, this holy place stokes either courage or intense hatred. It provides +2 leadership for the unit controlling it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think it would only apply to whoever the defender is, because it's their Holy Relic. But if you're the attacker, you're like, I hate what this Holy Relic represents. I'm getting +2 leadership because I'm so pissed off.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or you could just say it only applies to one side if you want. It's up to you. Then we have we have stratagems. There's 2 of them in this one. Superior construction, 1 CP. Add 4 to a building's wounds characteristic. If it seems this is intended for fortifications in your army, but it seems reasonable to allow it for whatever terrain is in your battlefield.
Yeah.
Earlier on, it does mention that it did imply that there should be buildings and ruins and stuff. So then we have malfunctioning auto defenses for 2 CP. One of the buildings on the battlefield is equipped with automated turrets to defend itself against rioting or invasion, but it has a tendency to awaken at random intervals. And it deals D3 mortal wounds to all units within 3 inches, but only on a 6+ per unit. That's a lot of mortal wounds.
Yeah, that could be, especially if you have a couple of units hiding in that right next to it.
Oh yeah, can you imagine if you... Sorry, imagine having like a big ruin in your deployment zone and you basically put everything in it. Your opponent is gonna definitely use that strategy.
Yeah, I would. All right, next up, we have Devoured World.
This one's neat.
Yeah, this one is pretty neat. As depicted by Grassynth Ponta system, eaten by Hive Fleet Leviathan from the Blood of Baal. One hobby idea, maybe create terrain like features or blocks or structures by using expanding foam.
That stuff is so good.
Yeah, I've seen someone or a few people create like Tyranid inspired Zone Mortalis boards that use that foam to create the walls instead of like walls.
Mm-hmm.
And I figure that could be used to create like some other types of structures, just for giggles and whatnot. I think that would actually be pretty good.
Pat and I were going to set up a new. We've always talked about doing a terrain setup, a Tyranid terrain setup for the Golden Spear Cup that would include the spray foam It's really sticky, by the way. Be careful working with that. You're going to want to like put it on some plastic card or paper when you create your structures. We were going to buy how to describe it. We were going to go to an adult bookstore and purchase some stuff and then kind of dress it up with the spray foam and a few like spines and stuff and use that as the tree.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, there we go. So next year's Golden Sprue, or next time we're going to have a Golden Sprue, look for that table.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we have, where were we?
We're about to start special rules.
Oh, go ahead.
So, Psychic Blackout. Even though the High Fleet's influence is waning, the Shadow and the Warp still holds sway here and causes non-Tyranid Psychers to roll an additional d6, discarding the highest when manifesting powers. That's actually pretty cool. That could make things really rough, but that is a pretty cool rule. Digestive Spores. The machinery of the High Fleet's vast digestive network is still very much at work here, and if flesh is exposed, it will be consumed. Any model with at least one lost wound takes one mortal wound on a die roll of 1 or 2.
Right. So if their armor is busted open, they take mortal wounds.
Yeah, almost like a leak in armor. Yeah.
Yep.
Battlefield Twists. So I really dig these battlefield twists. They seem so very much like Tyranids. Of course.
Yeah, and there are 6 of them, right? So
there are.
This is a devoured world, so there's not a lot of layered rules. It's so desolate that you're really only going to have one extra thing going on at a time.
Mm-hmm. So we have Drifting Spore Mines. After resolving digestive spores, randomly pick an objective marker. The unit with the most models within 3 inches takes D3 mortal wounds. That's kind of fun.
So like it's almost as if they had attracted these spore mines.
Yeah, I played a game with Keith last year, and he had spore mines in his list, and they were just a pain. And it was in his own Mortalis table, which made it even more annoying because I could not get around them. All right, so low on ammunition, both the Tyranids and their opponents are running low on resources, and they have to make every shot count, thus reducing the max range of all ranged weapons by half.
Yeah. Even the Tyranids are running low on biomass.
Yeah, that's
so
gross.
they only shoot when they get close enough to make the shots count.
Yeah. Choking Spores. The air is super thick with as yet uncollected spores, which causes havoc with jet engines. At the start of each battle round, roll a die for each aircraft, and on a 1, they suffer D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, it's yikes.
Yeah. Reign of Death. In the later stages of digestion, I'm kind of hungry right now after talking about digestion. Anyways, in the later stages of digestion, a world's weather system begins to work against itself. Evaporated digestive fluids begin raining down on the battlefield. I'm not hungry anymore. Okay.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah. This is a huge, long description. Yeah. It does what it sounds like it does.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. Yep. Although I do enjoy the last sentence. Note that since the Tyranids are absolutely not immune to being devoured, in fact, they are a principal dish in the buffet.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Fighting Extinction. Several random rolls for each terrain feature deals mortal wounds, representing the natural predators of the world fighting back against the Great Devourer.
Yeah, I didn't think that this was... I think it would be cooler to just have wandering monsters.
Yeah, I think that would be as well.
I think that would be better.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
The Devourer Cometh. Represents the terrible toll that morale takes when someone witnesses their world digested before their eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't discount the psychological factor of this kind of stuff.
All right, so mysterious objective markers, none. The place has been eaten. Terrain traits, nom 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 nom. Uh, stratagems, snaps nodes for 2 command points. The stratagem is used at the start of the game. The objectives on the battlefield represent structures which provide a global synapse aura, and each count as a synapse creature for Tyranid units within 3 inches of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty cool, especially if you're running like, hey, I've got like a ton of Gons.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I love that, actually.
Yeah, that actually makes that sort of list, that like all Gaunt list, even more interesting. Fractured environment, 1 CP. The battlefield is super jacked by the Tyranids, and you can immediately after deployment either replace a battlefield twist with one you pick or roll for an additional one. So yeah, both players can use the stratagem once, so you could have up to 3 twists going simultaneously.
Yeah. Like, oh god, why?
Oh no!
This is going to be a quick game.
If the digestive fluid doesn't kill you, something else will. All right, next up.
Next up is the Demon World, represented by the world of Sartarius and the Ritual of the Damned. This one's good. This one really helps you understand, or at least manifest the feeling of a demon world if you so choose to fight upon one. And you're not even, I would say you're not restricted to Imperium attacking Chaos. Like, you could be 2 Chaos factions fighting over territory, you know?
Yeah.
So there are 3 ongoing special rules for this one. One is Sanity Blasting Landscape. The geometry of the world is bending and breaking the minds of those who look upon it, of course, except for Grey Knights and Chaos. Imposing a -1 to leadership. Demons get a +1. Insane Bravery also costs 3 command points instead of 2. So your army is very fragile emotionally in their surroundings. You'll note that the Demon World, as we go forward, there's a lot of, this applies to everything except for Chaos.
Yeah.
So this one's very tuned to giving benefit to the Chaos player. Warped Perceptions. The laws of reality break for both the units on the battlefield and the players themselves. So, because of that, the players roll off, and if they both roll the same number throughout the next battle round, 1s become 6s, and 6s become 1s. It literally, so this is what I love. This literally has no effect at all on gameplay, on the actual gameplay, but it's going to mess with you.
Yes, it will. I'm already dreading that, and I'm not. I know that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Then we have the Malefic Realm. The veil between realities is thin here, and summoning is much easier, reducing the CP of Demonic Incursion and Denizens of the Warp stratagems, as well as requiring summoning rolls to be made with +1d6. That's a lot. You're gonna paralyze your brains off. So, this has a lot of layering rules. By the way, this is a high difficulty. This is a high difficulty environment to play a game in.
Yeah.
So, Battlefield Twist, there are 6 of these. Warp Surge, demons get 4++ versus ranged. Field of War, mountains of skulls and rivers of blood. How nice! All models get +1 strength. Winds of Magic. Are you sensing a theme? +2 to psychic tests.
Yeah.
Doubles cause perils. Except for demons and Grey Knights, of course.
Of course.
Fly swarms. The ground cracks open like a festering sore and out pours flies. Ew. -1 to hit with ranged weapons beyond 18. Scent of Obsession. Imagine Spring Break. Spring Break. Woo! They should just call this Spring Break. +1 to advance and charge rolls. So clearly we had a generic Warp Surge and then 4 that represent each of the Chaos Gods. And then the last one is world in conflict. The world is being contested by all of the gods. So the world is bending and breaking with conflict. Roll twice on this table, and
wow,
like 2 different ones. Yeah. Now, if
wow.
you're playing, say if you're playing Nurgle and your friend is playing Corn, then just pick Field of War and Fly Swarms. You know, that's something to always remember. You can always just pick if you want. This isn't.
Yeah.
You're not like rolling the dice to see if you get lucky with a good one or a bad one.
Wow, this is just, I mean,
yeah,
amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, there's part of me that wants to run my Thousand Sun Sorcerer into this.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would be happy to play some like demons or perhaps at some point my Drukhari think they're escaping through a webway portal, but it's actually a false one. It's actually a deception, and they jump through a crack in reality and end up on a demon world.
Yeah.
Or a crone world. That would be fun.
Yeah.
So there are 6 mysterious objective markers, but this is a pre-game version, so you don't have to, you don't have to actually roll for each one. I actually reckon for this one, I don't know. Anyways, we'll see. So possessed objective. So there's a demon bound on the objectives. And they lash out and deal mortal wounds.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think that you could do some cool objective markers with this using cheap models.
Yeah.
Like Dark Heaven models, Reaper Dark Heaven models or something, just to show that it's actually a possessed thing. Then we have a skull altar. It's basically a giant skull with blood streaming from its eyes. They actually describe it as that, and there's literally a model to represent this.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
In the Blades of Khorne army for Age of Sigmar.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. That makes sense.
It's got blood coming out its eyes, dude. And that's how it's held up in the air. It's a floating skull with blood coming out its eyes, and the only reason it's floating is because the blood is touching the base. It's pretty cool. Models within 3 inches get +1 to their attacks characteristic. Then we have arcane glyphs. So a psyker within 3 inches, if controlling it, can manifest an additional power. Good for him. Or her.
Good for him, yeah.
And there's other rules for that too. Then we have Aura of Entropy. The area around the objective marker is suffused with the feeling one gets in a death ward or a junkyard. Like, stuff is breaking down. It's a lonesome place. So saves are reduced by 1 for models within 3 inches. I almost feel like it'd be better as a battlefield twist because it's just this area. It's like it's just this region of entropy. But maybe it ebbs and flows as you cross the battlefield. You could use like a Nurgle tree or something as your objective marker. I think that would be cool. The next one is Secrets of the Warp. These objectives are kind of described as beguiling gems, but you could use things like dusty tomes or scrap code infested cogitators, even like models, like ghost models, stuck out of the ground, or zombies that are stuck out of the ground, but trapped in the earth, like muttering lies to you. Anyways,
what are those? I'm trying to remember what the name of it's a Sigmar model, and it's like a drifting ghost, like Night Haunts or something like that.
Yeah, Night Haunts,
yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be great. The rules are that you select a character within 3 inches, and in the psychic phase, you roll 3d6. If it's higher than their leadership, they take a mortal wound. But if not, you gain a command point. So apparently they weren't lying. The last one is the World in Flux. The mysterious objective type changes every battle round. So every battle round you roll on this table.
Wow.
It changes. I hope you have a lot of objective markers on hand to change.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, it's awesome, but it's crazy.
So terrain traits, there are 3. Cursed ground. The laws of reality are broken by the warp here, reducing the effectiveness of non-demons involved save to a 6++.
Okay.
So the best invuln save you can have in one of these terrain features is 6+. The Aura of Mutation. So it represents a really strange region of change magic. Models within 3 inches have 4++, 4+ invuln, sorry, but they might suffer mortal wounds at the end of your movement phase.
Okay.
Then you have Flux of Time. The terrain feature is not bound by the laws of time, randomly altering whether a unit wholly within 3 inches either fights first, fights last, or remains at their current initiative. So I thought that one was cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I don't like these terrain traits. I think the mysterious subjective markers and the battlefield twists are more than enough for a fun. It would have been better to have a couple stratagems, which there are none.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like. I'm liking the objective markers and the twists.
Yeah, those are well worth it. I would just go ahead and play without the terrain traits. I think that's just too much layered on top of everything else.
Yeah, but I mean, they're trying to go with the feel of chaos, and that'll do it.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's head on to Hive World. So this is depicted by the word of Zimmerus the world of Zimmerus from the Greater Good supplement, which I don't have that supplement. But the supplement suggests you layer on another city fight rule, such as Cities of Death or Urban Conquest, to create an even more in-depth experience. Hobby idea,
right.
Hey man, Necromunda boards.
Right. They actually recommend, they don't have terrain traits here, which at first might seem strange, but the battlefield is going to be choked with buildings and ruins. Like, there's already enough going on when it comes to terrain that you don't need additional rules on top of it.
There are some special rules. I really do dig the 2 special rules in here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
First off is height advantage. So you're traversing an exposed position can be dangerous. It's difficult to keep track of every hidden place above you. Plus, most armor is designed more for frontal attack than from above. So when a firing model occupies a position that is at least 3 inches higher than every model in the target unit, they have height advantage, and models with height advantage improve their AP by 1.
Right.
I like that. I like that one a lot.
The old like Urban Conquest rules, I think it was very complicated who had height advantage and who didn't.
Right.
In this case, they actually just break it down by model. So if a model is higher than every model in an enemy unit, your weapons are AP -1. So you just fire. So like if you have 5 models that are higher and 5 models on the ground floor, just separate their attacks into 2 different groups. That's all.
See, that actually helps with, if you're running sniper type of units.
Yeah.
Because snipers are kind of meh. I mean, well, they have been in the past. Maybe they're better in 9th. I doubt it, but whatever. Daring Leap. Infantry beasts and monsters can have their move characteristic in the movement phase, but also ignore vertical movement. On a D6 check of 1, the model is destroyed.
One thing, first of all, I love that. That's so cool. I should just have this in that should be a basic rule. I think back in 7th edition it was a rule. You could jump.
That sounds familiar.
You might die. Also, you'll note that in my notes here, I have actually shorthanded the phrase "roll a dice." If the result is a blah blah blah, this happens. I just changed it to on a D6 check of blank. And you'll see it. That all that means is you roll a dice, and on a 1, the thing happens.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, let's look at those battlefield twists. So first up is Indiscriminate Ordnance, which I love
this.
That.
This is a great rule.
Notice how we seem to like the stuff that's the most chaotic.
Clearly.
All right, so split the battlefield into 6 equal sections, and every battle round randomly deal D3 mortal wounds to every unit in that section on a 5-up check.
Yeah.
You want a castle? Fine.
Yeah, so it's awesome. It's like the battlefield is set up into 6. You can either go. I think they're assuming you're going to do it in squares.
Yeah.
I like it more as if it's in stripes.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's a rolling bombardment.
Yeah, like a carpet bomb. Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
All right, next up, and that goes with this next one: hostile airspace. Representing flak batteries, aircraft have to fly at low altitude, so they can't deep strike. So they've got to come in off the edge of the board.
That's correct.
Yeah. All right, death at every turn represents the paranoia of street-to-street combat. Only vehicles are allowed to advance in the first battle round. For a more difficult to adjudicate rule, but possibly fun, perhaps say that throughout the battle, infantry cannot run unless they're running towards their own battlefield edge. Yeah. Okay, so they can only run if they're retreating.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that works.
That you like that? I think that's a cool alternative. The rules writers have a hard time doing prescriptive movement. So, like, if you're required to move a certain way, or even worse, like allowing your opponent to move your models for you, or moving terrain, the GW rules writers have got shied away from that because it causes weird rules collisions, and they have to be explained at great length. Like the explanations of what to do in that situation to make them non-abusable is difficult. But if you're just among friends, who gives a damn? Just you know what I mean when I say, they have to move. They that only works if they're running towards their own battlefield edge.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
You're not gonna game it because we're playing a narrative scenario.
Yeah. All right, so let's go through and look at our objective markers, our mysterious objective markers. Ooh. So these are the beginning of battle type. So first up, Hive Spirit Communion Link. Objective marker allows the controlling unit to tap into the planet's security network, and models within 3 inches add 6 inches to the range of their weapons. That's pretty sweet.
That's a neat one.
Yeah, that one's a really nice one. I like that one. Sites of Sanctuary. The objective marker denotes a very defensible position, and models within 3 inches gain the benefit of cover to their saving throw, and they don't suffer a penalty to hit for moving and firing heavy weapons. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Mobile assets represents crates or other valuable quarry that isn't bolted down. Is that a Blood Ravens joke? Okay. The objective markers can be moved with a unit, as if in coherency, but can't be moved off the battlefield or within 6 inches of another objective. Yeah.
Except for that last one, the mobile asset.
Yeah.
The other two, I feel like this one specifically, the Hive World, would be better if it had a 6 table and you randomly determined what each objective. Yeah. Because I just think it just doesn't. None of these speak like this Hive Spirit Communion uplink. It doesn't speak to me that there would be 6 of those objectives in the same area. Just
right.
Yeah, I think that these are not good.
Yeah, I mean they're fun, but I don't know that they would work.
It just doesn't make sense narratively to me. It would make if it were up to me, I would say if I were to play in a Hive world, I would say roll a dice on a 1 through 4. Randomly determine each objective marker using this table, but each marker is different.
Got it.
On a 5 or a 6, I would say use the one for the Forge World.
Got it.
The Forge, as we'll find out later, the Forge World mysterious objective markers are basically the mysterious objective markers from 6th and 7th edition.
Yeah, I remember looking at that and thinking about that.
Yeah, so that's what I would do. I would have each objective be different, and I would use both this table and that table to generate them.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Terrain traits, none, because you have buildings and ruins. Stratagems, caught in the open. 1 CP, reroll to hit rolls against units that are not in terrain. That's not too bad.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Undermine, represents your army. Undermine 2 CP. Represents your army scouting the battle zone ahead of time and sabotaging one of the ruins. After determining deployment zones, mark 1 ruin as difficult ground, and it also doesn't provide the benefit of cover.
Right.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, that's neat. You could also say that you could also, explode it, during the game. I think.
I'm good with that.
That would be neat. Speak of the devil, the next one's the Forge World. This is represented in Engine War. Hobby idea, blinking smoke like tea lights, battery powered with gauze or cotton drifts. Tim made some of these a few years ago.
He made some for you, right?
Yeah, he made some for me.
Yeah.
I used some of this cotton for my game with Connor that one time when we were playing my Drakari versus his Death Guard. We were fighting on top of a building. And so to represent the open air past the edge of the building roof, we had clouds in the sky. It was cool.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah, that's right. I remember seeing pictures and we talked about that. Yeah. I like that.
The Forge World special rule is Industrial Haze. Kind of a lazy rule, but it does make sense.
Yeah.
Reduces the visibility of ranged weapons to 30 inches maximum. And also subtract 1 from advance and charge rolls. I would say any model that doesn't breathe would ignore that. Now, remember, vehicles do breathe in most cases. So
I don't know. 30 inches just doesn't seem...
Yeah, it seems like it wouldn't come into play a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Still play with it if you think it would. Otherwise, you can take or leave that special rule.
I just don't. Maybe if the number was changed like 15 or 20.
Right. Well, that's like smoke. That's like It's hard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Then we have Battlefield Twists. There are 6 of these, so these are much more interesting. First,
I like your descriptions. Actually, you have to say the first description.
Data uplink. The Wi-Fi is really good in this location, increasing the all auras by 3 inches and regenerating command points on a 6+. That's for both players. That's a really cool one.
Yeah.
Then we have the Rad Wastes. Either the entire world is irradiated or the battlefield is in some kind of basin full of terrible radiation. But either way, it causes models to suffer -1 toughness characteristic if it is not taking shelter within a terrain feature. This doesn't apply to monsters, vehicles, Titanic, Adeptus Mechanicus, and Chaos Demon units. So most of the units from Engine War are not affected by this rule.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
That is funny.
You guys do you. Anyways, Promethium Repository. The region is blessed with a wealth of high-grade promethium, which the combatants have been making use of, providing their vehicles with a +3 inches to their max movement. High test. Also, however, all explodes checks are made with +1 to the roll.
So they're pouring moonshine in their vehicles. Got it.
This sounds like my kind of party. The region could also be an auto simulacra. Repair drones whiz about repairing everything. Check for each vehicle in your army at the start of your turn. On a 2 to 3, they heal 1. On a 4 to 6, they heal D3. That's everybody.
Wow, this sounds like an orc fast attack dream.
This is the best place ever.
Yeah, they never leave.
Manufactorum supplies. The contested area is stacked with extra ammo, providing units with the ability to reroll 1 hit and 1 wound when they shoot. Thermic industry. The blasting heat here is enough to exhaust even tireless warriors, imposing a -1 to hit in combat. It's boring. I would have definitely reroll that one.
Yeah.
There are 6 mysterious objective markers, which definitely will be familiar to everyone who played 7th edition and 6th edition. So volatile tech, malfunctioning or dangerous node of energy. It just does mortal wounds. It used to be, this was sabotaged, it was called.
Yeah.
But sabotage didn't make a whole lot of sense because it just kept exploding, so they called it volatile tech. Then we have the Skyfire Nexus. Units within 3 inches get +1 to hit fly units. Targeting relay, units within 3 inches get +1 to hit in general. Grav wave generator, -2 to charge units that are within 3 inches. And then a scatter field, -1 range to hit units within 3 inches. Then power conduit. Units within 3 inches can plug into the power conduit and channel additional motive force into their weapons to deal random damage to add 1 to the roll. So if your weapon does d6 damage, it'll be d6 + 1.
Mm-hmm.
You could, if you wanted, since you're narrative play, it's called the power conduit, so why not just apply it to energy weapons?
Yeah.
And you don't have to actually apply it to just weapons that deal random damage. You could apply it to weapons that deal 1 damage, but maybe you only add +1 damage if the to-hit roll is a 6+.
Yeah.
Or the wound roll is a 6+. Either way. There are terrain traits, so these are by region, so all terrain that isn't a hill or a building would have these traits. Smog stacks. The terrain features pipes belch black smoke into the atmosphere, reducing the range of weapons carried by models within 1 inch of them to 12. I would also definitely apply obscuring to the terrain feature.
Yeah.
Because it's got smoke pouring out of it. It really should be obscuring. The shield generators. The terrain features provide all units wholly within 5 up invuln save. And the next one is cool. Vociferous machines. The terrain feature is so loud with the sounds of industry that it's distracting to units within 1 inch, barring them from firing Overwatch, and makes the models unable to be affected by friendly auras.
Wow.
Also, the terrain feature should probably not be given the defensible trait.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
Because you can't. Yeah, you're so distracted you won't be able to set up a defense.
Yeah.
That one's cool. I think, most of what's in the Forge world is cool. I like it.
Yeah.
And we have in these mysterious objective markers actually make for a good generic mysterious objective marker table for any Imperial style world or battlefield.
All right. Next up is Perilous Jungle. So this is as represented by the Obsidian Jaguar's homeworld of Sibal from Saga the Beast. Kind of a stretch, but okay, cool. Designer's note recommends using a lot of Awakened Wildwoods and Deathworld Forest terrain. I do have the Deathworld Forest terrain, and it was really fun to paint.
Yeah, that stuff is cool. I like the way it looks.
I think I just slapped on like 2 or 3 colors with an airbrush, and it looked great. So I, didn't have to work terribly hard. So for modeling these battlefields, there are a lot of options out there for trees and foliage, not the least of which are like aquarium terrain, which can be mixed with other kits to produce works of art. Aquarium terrain's pretty sweet. There's lots of cool stuff out there. So
I love aquarium terrain for jungle stuff.
Who was it that did the Necrons with the aquarium terrain? Was that you?
I did the battlefield at Flipside with the aquarium terrain.
That's it. Okay. All right. So special rules. Snare vines represents prehensile grappling vines that lash themselves to passerbys, causing a -1 to hit if a unit trips on them. A check roll of 1 when they charge or advance. That's pretty cool. Yeah. There's some really interesting. I'm not even going to go into that. We could think about modeling stuff about the modeling stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not too restrictive. You don't want these special rules to be devastating to somebody's game.
Right. Yeah. Deadly predators at the start of each battle round determine the unit closest to the battlefield edge, and that unit is attacked by a monster on a check roll of 4 up and takes d6 mortal wounds. This is where you would have Welcome to the Jungle, being played. Infestation units. So add infestation units such as Bee, Swarm, Gene Stealers, Lictors, Spore Mines, Poxwalkers, Ambles, etc. Basically, this could be anything at all that's a swarm. To the game as a third player. These are set up on the battlefield next to 3 randomly determined infestation markers. The monsters take their turn at the end of the battle round, shooting and charging the closest enemy unit. There are no rules for automatically respawning infestation units, but this could easily be included in your games to spawn 1 or more on a dice roll throughout the game on a random battlefield edge or an infestation marker. So you could actually create some really kind of crazy stuff with that one.
Yeah, I love wandering monsters.
Yeah. All right. Battlefield twists. Dense flora, so your max range of 18 inches. So you've got trees.
Now that makes sense for this. Yeah, you can't fire indiscriminately into the trees and hope to hit the invisible predator.
What's funny is I was thinking of Predator when I read that. Claustrophobic environment. It's not just that the foliage is thick, but it feels very close to the point where it's hard to breathe. So auras are reduced all the way down to 1 inch. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a lot. You're only giving orders to the person next to you.
Yeah. Uncertain footing represents swampy, boggy, sodden terrain. Perfect if you have a water feature on the battlefield. At the end of your opponent's movement phase, you can pick up one of their infantry models in terrain to test on their save characteristics with the -1, or they get sucked down the mud, never to be seen again. That is correct. The heavier they are, the more dangerous it is. That is pretty cool.
Right? Yeah.
So yeah, they've got a 6-up save.
They're fine, yeah.
Yeah. But if they've got a 2-up. Yeah,
if you're wearing Terminator armor, you're sinking.
Yeah. I like that rule. That's
delightful.
Yeah, it's cute. All right, let's see, where are we? Mysterious objective markers, so beginning of battle type. Carnivorous plants, so there are a lot of plants which react to body heat or some other stimulus, and they like to eat your flesh. And for some reason, you want to stand near them. Come closer. Roll a check for each unit within 3 inches. On a 1, they take a mortal wound. I like that one.
Simple.
Feed me, Seymour. So, ancient stones. It's amazing how many. It's amazing how many pop culture references that we're dropping in this one. Mm-hmm. Ancient stones. These objective markers make a bit more sense as actual objectives, representing arcane stones of whatever origin or power you desire for your narrative. The location of the objectives are tough to pin down, so their actual location moves throughout the game. They represent physical.
Isn't that neat? They represent actual objects that are. The objects don't move. Your perception of where they exist moves.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, there you go. That makes us more mysterious.
Yeah.
All right. Hunting supplies. Objective markers are trapped by the indigenous peoples, which, frankly, quite serves you right if you get caught in them. For some reason, units within 3 inches improve their leadership by 1, but they also check on a 1 to take D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, I don't understand the +1 leadership, but okay.
Maybe that they're just, excited about having like, hey, here's this really great stuff, and then it's like booby trapped.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I think I think that might be what they're going for. Terrain traits, none. The terrain is already dangerous. No stratagems.
And if you're using the actual data sheets for these, they definitely are already dangerous.
Yeah.
On top of everything that the battlefield twists and special rules. So we have a derelict world. I like derelict world. I think it's neat. It's got a lot of more. This is the second to last one, everyone, before we get into our custom ones.
Yeah, the custom ones are going to be fun.
This one, this one I think has a lot of psychological ones, which makes me happy. This is basically, this was one that's depicted by Barristan Prime from War of the Spider. The designer's note indicates that a derelict world is one which was home to a culture, an actual culture. So ruins and other mechanical features should still be present. They're just not. They're mostly inoperable.
Yeah.
So for the special rules, we've got 2 of them. VoxNet interface. So the noosphere is dead here. Bad Wi-Fi. And You can't use the command reroll stratagem.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Then we have Engine Thirst. There's little chance to refuel on this abandoned planet, so the armies have to make do with lower grade stuff. So that imposes a -3 inches to their movement for vehicles and bikes. So it's kind of literally the opposite of a Forge World.
Yeah.
We have bad Wi-Fi and bad fuel.
Yeah.
So my orcs are already like, no, thank you.
Yeah, no kidding.
let the humans fight over this planet. So this is the one that has the combatant conditions. So you roll this before the battle begins. War weary. The war drags on, and the lack of food and sensory input is a test to the mind and the body, imposing a -1 strength to some units.
Ooh.
Yep. Hollowed out. The dead nature of the world starts to get on the combatants, causing all morale to be taken on 3 dice. Take out the lowest.
Oh.
To walk amidst the ruin. The ground is scattered with detritus of decay and crisscrossed with significant rents in the earth, causing some units to roll 3 dice to charge, taking out the highest. Now, some units here implies there's just a list of certain units it affects.
Oh, okay.
If you're making up your own rules for this kind of stuff, if you're applying rules to units, don't make it a roll at the beginning of the game for each unit to see if it's affected, because then you have to keep track of that.
Yeah.
It's better if every unit, or at least every unit of a type, is affected all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Then we have,
I think that I completely agree with you. It's a lot easier to
keep track of.
Yeah.
Or at least if you want to just say one side of the one army is affected, one army is not, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just as long as one person doesn't have to keep track of which unit is affected and which unit isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a bookkeeping nightmare pretty quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So next we have Battlefield Twists. Ghost Vox. So the voices echoing in the Vox, some of them yours and some of them belonging to no one or everyone, garble your communications.
I like that one.
We have a call coming in from Spokane, Washington. Little Timmy Johnson. All he wanted was a puppy. But instead, his mama brought home a Grox. That Grox fed the family for years of its milk. And when it got old, Timmy had to put the Grox down and they ate it. So this one goes out to that Grox somewhere out there in heaven. Test on a 1 and you lose your stratagem. And the CPs for it. So that's
not... Yeah. Okay. I like that. Yeah.
It's probably the Grox. Starved guns. Yeah. Ammunition is very low. And after shooting, if you test on a 1, you can't shoot your next 2 player turns with that unit. That sounds like a lot of work.
That's interesting.
You may want a token for this.
That's very much when was it? One of the Horse Heresy.
Oh yeah, yep.
One of the rule sets under their hat,
like
something
the
like
1,000 point games. There's the small. Yeah.
But no, there was there was one special rule set that was like,
if you roll a 1 or something, you run out of ammo.
Yeah.
So then we have the Dead Provide. At the start of the battle round, randomly select an objective marker. And that marker represents a cache of supplies left behind by previous owners.
Oh, nice.
The controller gets +1 CP.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah,
that is pretty cool. But each round, it's a +1 CP.
Mm-hmm.
Or a different objective that provides the +1 CP. Now you'll note that this derelict world doesn't have a list of mysterious objective markers,
right?
But that Battlefield Twist basically creates mysterious it is a mysterious objective marker type ability.
Yeah.
So you'll note when there's not enough of a certain type of thing, it'll get rolled into the battlefield twists instead.
Yeah.
So if you're making your own, keep that in mind. Next is environmental conditions, which is, I think, the first time we've seen these. So this battlefield is so messed up, this derelict world, that not only do you have battlefield twists, but they've separated out all the environmental conditions into its own table, so you'll have them running concurrently. All right. So fulminating fury, basically lightning strikes and does mortal wounds. But if you're standing in a building, like under, not on the top floor, you're actually immune. You're immune to this issue. So this is a cool thing that tells us, hey, why not roll in the terrain as part of the special rules that we're adding to the game, because they provide shelter. Screaming winds. The winds are so strong that units with fly that are not aircraft essentially do not have fly.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, too bad about your
really
assault squad.
This is something I wanted to bring up, and I hope folks haven't tuned out yet. Some of these, I meant to talk about this in the beginning. So a lot of this stuff you should know what the battlefield is like before you put together your crusade list.
Yeah.
Right? So you shouldn't be hosed by this, because you're not going to take units that are not well suited for the battlefield.
Yeah, definitely.
A commander would not deploy a unit that is going to be horribly hampered by the terrain that they're fielding the unit on. Pick something else in your crusade roster. Don't pick the flying. Don't pick your jump. Don't pick your jump pack units.
Yeah.
But if all you've got is jump pack units, well, that's your fault. Next, we have tectonic instability. At the start of your battle round, test on a 1 or a 2 for the world's unstable crust to shake violently. This halves the movement on units without fly. So there's only a 1 in 3 chance of this happening during your battle round, but that is statistically significant. So, and you might end up stuck in the middle of nowhere while the ground shakes beneath you. There are no mysterious objective markers or terrain traits because the world is dead.
Yeah.
Stratagems. Desertion. Desertion is cool. 2 command points representing crumbling morale. You select a unit in your opponent's army to lose double the models to morale this turn.
Ooh.
Yeah. Crumbling grandeur. 1 command point representing the unstable architecture losing integrity when under heavy fire. A unit within 6 inches of a ruin which loses any models, they suffer D3 mortal wounds on a test of a 2+.
Ouch.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it usually represents weapons fire hitting the crumbling architecture and it falling on them.
That does have, that's a really nice visual,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next one is cool. It's the Necron Tomb World. I'm actually going to be, what I'm going to do is we're going to be playing a game. Mark and
Yes.
I am going to be Mark and I will be playing a game maybe this week or next week. I think Saturday. I'm going to real quick like a bunny, take my scrap plywood and boards, and I'm going to start chopping them up into like rhombuses and stuff, just like
like
monoliths. I'm going to wood glue them together and sand them and spray them black and create some sweet Necron Tomb World terrain for us to play.
That'll be cool. That'll be really sweet.
I think it's going to be fun.
Okay, so Necron Tomb World. Representing any of the worlds of the Pariah supplement, you could use old Necron monoliths, as well as what Adam wants to do, which is take simple blocks of wood, paint them black with green symbols. So let's get into this. Special rules: fade into the dark, lost either to the confusion of the Necron's non-Euclidean spaces or to the stilling of the mind inflicted on them by their cruel enemy. When a morale test is failed, you lose 2 models instead of 1. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is cool.
This seems like it would apply to Necrons as well. Yeah. I would recommend not.
Yeah. Yeah, probably not. That would be, yeah. Unless they could come back. Nah, I don't want to think about that. Okay. Yeah, don't go through and do that with the Necrons. Null Field Matrix. The Necrons do not appreciate Warpcraft. Perils are inflicted on any double roll and deal 3 mortal wounds instead of D3. Ouch.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think my sorcerers are going to be wandering into there.
No.
Battlefield Twists. Canoptic Wardens. Test on a 3-up when a unit ends an advance or charge move near an objective marker, thus activating small Canoptic constructs who assail the interlopers and deal 1 mortal wound to every unit within 3 inches of the marker. Yeah, this might have been a mysterious marker or objective.
Yeah, it almost feels like it should be a mysterious objective. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I guess this would be with every objective marker.
Right, and it's cool, like you're basically layering 2 mysterious objective markers.
Yeah.
Mysterious objective rules on top of each other, which isn't terrible. It's a neat idea.
Yeah, yeah. I think, I really do think that I like this Battlefield Twist just because I think that layering that extra thing on, with objectives, you sometimes get really good things. Maybe it's, here's good, but hey, here's something terrible also.
Yeah, okay.
So, Atomic Reconstitution Field. Basically, really dumb nanoscarab repair beams. Repair all of your vehicles 1 wound at the start of the turn. Yeah, okay, I can see that would be.
Yeah, they're not very intelligent repair beams. They're like, oh, I'll heal every vehicle.
Yeah, like orcs, that. Yeah,
that looks like a Necron command barge. Thanks, lads.
All right, Stilled Zone. Even more powerful Noctilith fields sap the energy from Warpcraft, having all distances mentioned in powers. Interesting.
Yeah, this could be basically a null zone for Psychers.
Yeah, and that could be, yeah. All right, so mysterious objective markers. These are pre-game. So we have Laid Bare, which is parasitic power siphons. Drain away the invul saves of units within 3 inches of objective markers. That's interesting. That would be pretty terrible for demons.
Most things.
Yeah, most things, yeah. Eldritch Energy Grid, which is awesome. At the start of each battle round, test on a 2-up, then randomly select 2 objective markers. Draw a line between them to deal D3 mortal wounds to units caught in the arc. If doubles are rolled, units within 6 inches of that marker are damaged instead. I like that one too.
That's another one of those really interesting uses of using objective markers to do something interesting. Yeah. You actually draw a line between 2 random objective markers and do wounds between them. Or if it's a double, then just 1 objective marker kind of explodes.
And what would be kind of cool is, this works with Necrons, of course, but you could have this in, maybe a Forge world.
Oh, yeah.
This one's, yeah, I do like this one quite a bit.
We'll have to try that one out.
Yeah. And you could probably come up with an excuse for just about anything, like a Chaos Demon world or, a Forge world here. Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna see if Mark will acquiesce to this one, because we're gonna be fighting in kind of a mad scientist's lair.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of thing. So I think it would make sense to have objectives that do this.
Yeah, I do too. I think that would be really great. Improbability field. Forces emanating from the objective markers scramble transit beams, and units may not be set up from reserve within 9 inches of them. That's pretty cool. That actually could,
That'd be difficult.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to come in from reserve with the improbability field on
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right. Terrain traits. Noctilith edifice. The remains of whatever structures stand here still drain power away from the effects of Warcraft, providing a 4-up ignore mortal wounds from the psychic phase while within 6 inches of a ruin. I would say that this probably includes any large terrain features that look like Noctilith. That's pretty cool.
So if you're just using your monoliths as terrain or whatever, I mean, it's not a ruin, but
still, it's terrain.
Yeah.
Scarab replication microfactory. I almost said McFactory. Sorry. And that's how it should be, man. It should be just like McDonald's. You just stamp them out. So this is a region where scarabs are replicated from energy and matter. When the last vehicle in a unit is destroyed, test on a 2-up and it explodes in a wave of nano scarabs, dealing D3 mortal wounds to units within 3 inches.
Isn't great?
You can always tell how much chaos there is by when I start laughing. Counter ballistic interceptors. The terrain is essentially equipped with highly accurate anti-missile systems and reduces the range of weapons fire from ruins. It's possible in narrative play you could just have this affect actual ballistic weapons, which would be a benefit to the Necron player, but make more sense. So yeah,
I mean, it's called a counter ballistic interceptor. I'm not sure why it would. I'm not sure why it would affect las guns.
Right. Yeah, or it shouldn't affect that or gauze weapons or plasma weapons. Anything else.
That's hard to write into a rule in a book, because you have to be like, well, what counts as a ballistic weapon? Bolt weapons are, you'd have to have a huge list.
Yeah,
where as a player of a narrative game, you can easily determine what is ballistic and what is not.
Oh yeah. All right, stratagems, reanimation nodes, 2 CP. The master program provides rerolling ones on reanimation protocols within 3 inches of objective markers. I would tell my opponents just reroll them. 2 CP is a lot, right? Yeah, that one is.
Just reroll all your reanimation protocols. It's 2 CP. That's a lot.
Master program makes me think of Tron and yeah, okay, good. That's all right. I've got the right, IP. Teleportation.
Oh wait, we're not there yet. Go ahead.
Teleportation gates. Teleport an infantry unit from one objective marker to another outside of 1 inches from enemy models. Keep on your toes with this one.
That's again another great use of objective markers. They're little teleportation gates. I love that. End of line. All right. So those are cool. I really like what they've done. They put a lot of work into these theaters of war. I would say again, we were a little critical of some of them, but we're just keeping it real here, and all of the problems that we've mentioned can be easily fixed with a little bit of independent thought, which of course we're all capable of. Well, if you're still listening to this show after the past few episodes, one would hope that independent thought is something that you're capable of.
Well, the thing is, we did kind of get down on a few of them, but there's a couple of the rules that
they're just amazing.
Yeah, that I adore.
Just amazing.
Yeah, some great stuff. All right.
Absolutely. So, Jason.
Yes.
Why don't we take a quick break, get a beverage, and come back, and we have 3 new theaters of war for players to try out in their games.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be right back.
Blood Ravens Chapter is a Facebook group set up and run by passionate fans of the mysterious Space Marine chapter. They have weekly features, regular competitions, and an encouraging community ethos designed to let people get the most from their hobby. Search for +, Blood Ravens Chapter, + On Facebook, using the plus symbol, if you're a fan or collector of these heroes of the Imperium. Knowledge is power, guard it well. Hello everyone. The Masters of the Forge is now a proud member of the NPC, the Narrative Podcast Consortium. Our aim is to inspire your hobby through the rich lore of the 41st millennium. If you enjoy our podcast, then make sure to check out these other awesome shows, where you can get coverage on campaigns, Black Library, and all kinds of general topics of the 40K background.
The NGC 40K podcast also provides in-depth campaign coverage, audio dramas, and free-flowing narrative campaign creation.
The Adeptus Terra podcast also features in-depth discussions of the lore and commentary on the hobby.
Oh, and sexy English voices.
Oh, yeah.
The Masters of the Forge brings the world of 40K to life on your tabletop, with discussion on the lore, backed up by narrative-themed rules and battle reports.
Of course, this is only a fraction of the topics covered by the podcasts of the NPC. Please tune in to find out more.
Hey Archons, tired of the boring predictability and efficiency of stuff that always works? You need the Slip Party Bus! Got an extra 473 points that you can't find a solid use for? You need the Slip Party Bus! You could spend 420 points on 3 reliable Lance Ravagers pumping out 9 Dark Lance shots per turn. That'll only give up 3 victory points, or you can drop 473 points on 2 Archons, 8 Slip, and a Raider for 11 victory points. You need the Slip Party Bus! The classic Slip Party Bus. Still awesome. Party Bus! Still hilarious. Party Bus! It's the Slip Party Bus! If you love the Slip Party Bus, you'll want to check out our other exciting products. We have the Rack Wiffle Ball Bat, the Trueborn, and the Blood Bride. Trueborn and Blood Bride models no longer available. The classic Slith Party Bus, still awesome, still hilarious. It's the Slith Party Bus!
Welcome back to 2020, everyone. So, in this segment of 2020, we are going to be talking about some custom theaters of war that we've created. There are 3 of them: the Dead World, the Hellforge, and the Wreckage Field. Now, again, don't forget, these theaters of war they're called theaters of war because it doesn't necessarily mean that the entire planet is this way.
It's not Hoth. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, Dead World might be Hoth, but
okay, yeah, that's true.
So the Wreckage Field in particular represents like a junkyard, which could be on literally any planet. So keep that in mind when you're thinking of all of these theaters of war and whether you can use them in your extended campaign on a single planet. Despite the fact that there are, almost infinite maybe not almost infinite, many combinations that you can use these rules.
Mm-hmm.
So before that, I want to talk about a stratagem that I made up. It represents the fact that your warriors have fought on these grounds before and are kind of unfazed by the environment. So you would pay, it's called Familiar Ground, and you would pay 1 to 4 CP based on the size of the game. So Combat Patrol is 1 CP all the way up to Onslaught, which is 4 CP. That's like 3,000 point games or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You get to pick 1 special rule or a battlefield twist or environmental condition or any one thing, and you ignore it. Your units ignore it during the course of the game if it doesn't specify it in the rules. Now, I strongly recommend that you talk about this one with your opponent before you take it, so that they know that you're taking it or they agree that you're taking it. Like, narrative play is all of Warhammer is a collaborative experience, but narrative play is an extremely collaborative experience, and you're working with your opponent to tell the best story possible. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of these 3 new theaters of war. I'm going to read the description verbatim, but after that, I'm going to kind of give you the gist, kind of like we did with the ones from Pariah. If you want the full rules, you can feel free to download the supplement from our website, or I'm sure this will be featured as a download on the TC repo shortly after. Or even before. I might just send it right to them.
Yeah.
So the first one is the Dead World. This is kind of similar to a couple of the other worlds from the previous segment, but this one is a little different. Some worlds are dead because they were decimated or devoured by a threat, either internal or external. However, some worlds were born dead. They've always been dead, or at least they've been dead for millions of years. These desolate places never had hope of supporting life of any kind due to their totally inhospitable environments. Unlike death worlds, a dead world isn't actively trying to kill you. It just boasts few, if any, features that support any kind of life as we know it. So normally, quite frankly, boring places. Why would I want to play? Why would I want to play on a boring place? Well, because that boring place can kill you, and it might have resources that you need. Note that terrain features on a dead world should be mostly like rocky outcroppings and craters or hills, interspersed with the sort of artificial structures one would expect to see in one of these places, like industrial machinery or long forgotten ruins, like ruins that are millions of years old. Maybe Eldari in nature, or the old ones or something. There's 2 special rules for this one. One is called Hardened Armor, and it's that warriors who are equipped to do battle in harsh environments, such as a dead world, are more safe than others from its effects. So if you've got a 4+ save or better, or if you have a 5+ or better invulnerable save, you may actually be immune to the battlefield twists. But if you have a wounds characteristic greater than 1 and you suffer a wound, you could actually take another mortal wound as the environment invades your pressurized suit. Yeah. Next, we have Pyrrhic Victory. Very little of value exists on a dead world. More often than not, victory is determined in other ways. So when you play a game in a dead world, you reduce your victory points from mission objectives by 15. You both do. That may seem like it doesn't make sense because it's the same either way, but it just is. It's just to represent the fact that the primary objectives don't matter as much. However, what you will do is you'll go into the matched play section of the book and pick a secondary objective. Yeah. And you'll pick that secretly, and then you'll reveal it before you start playing. And that will be a kind of alternative scoring for you during the game. Now, a lot of these will have a corresponding twist, or not twist. What do you call it in Crusade? The where you get the extra experience. Experience, yeah. It might coincide with that. Try to be cool about what you pick. Yeah. So next we have the battlefield twists. So before the battle, one player rolls a d6 and consults the table. So you have low gravity. It's a small or hollow world with extremely low gravity. You can jump around. Infantry just gain the fly keyword.
I love that.
Yeah. Deadly atmosphere. So whether because the world is a void or suffers from deadly temperatures or is pounded by constant acid rain. The atmosphere isn't just unable to sustain life, but it's in a missile to it. So unless a unit unless you're not wholly within a terrain feature, like an artificial terrain feature, you roll a dice for each model in the unit, and for every 1 or 2 rolled, it suffers a mortal wound. That's a very brutal one. So you want to hunker down on that terrain if you have light armor. So hard radiation. So the light from the world star is not blocked by the weak magnetosphere or thin atmosphere, bathing everything in deadly radiation. Models that are not vehicles have a -1 strength and -1 toughness.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's actually really cool. It's like, walking into rad zones.
Yeah. Treacherous ground. The terrain here is not to be trusted. So whenever a unit that's not a vehicle or a monster takes a normal move or a charge move, they roll a dice against their weapon skill. If they hit, then the unit successfully navigates the area. If not, they suffer 1 mortal wound. So they're using their weapon skill as kind of like their agility to jump out of the way. Next we have Hoodoo. So Hoodoo. So a massive dust storm whips up, blasting everything with silicate. Randomly determine the direction of the wind at the start of the game. If you move against the wind, you reduce normal moves, run moves, and charge distance by D3. If you're moving with the wind, increase your normal moves, run moves, and charge distance by D3. Next is Brutal Landscape. Roll twice on this table, ignoring the result and re-rolling doubles.
That one's actually pretty brutal. That one is pretty cool.
It's rough. So, about the Battlefield twist, I was really struggling with whether to make it a 3+ or a 4+ that made you immune to the twists. I'm starting to really warm to the idea of switching that to 3+. Like, only if you're wearing power armor or if you're wearing like Terminator armor.
Right.
Because I think even then it's like most units would not be affected by the twists.
Yeah.
So what would the point be?
Yeah. I think going through and saying, 3-up, that if you have 3-up armor, then you're affected. Because then it would only touch Terminator armor.
Yeah, I'll play with it. Folks, this is the kind of thing we'd love to have your input on.
Yeah.
So next we have Mysterious Object Markers. This is a pre-game D3. Waygates. So there's ancient waygates that are great important to your benefactors. And they want to use them to move reinforcements to this location from elsewhere. So this dead world is so difficult to, like, you would need landers to land here.
Right.
And it's a dangerous environment. And it, especially if you've rolled on, or if you've selected the treacherous ground, maybe landers are too heavy and might collapse. The earth might collapse underneath them or whatever. So these waygates are very important. So I wanted to use the objectives for something a little different than what they were being used for in one of the, what was it, like allowing you to teleport across the battlefield.
Oh, yeah.
Instead, this lets you bring in reserves within 6 inches of the objective marker that you're holding.
Oh, yeah, that works.
And if you do, they can actually be set up as close as they want to enemy models.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
So the next one is caches. Supply or info caches were dumped here in the hopes that the location would be so remote that the enemy wouldn't catch on to its location, and it's your job to intercept them. Clearly that failed.
Yeah.
But if you're controlling, like, it's not like drop this off in the middle of the city and hope that no one steals it, because the galaxy is absolutely massive and this world is totally pointless. So it would stand to reason that it would be okay to just drop something here and pick it up later.
Yeah.
But someone got wind of it, and you're fighting over it. If you're controlling an objective marker, you can nominate one unit within 3 inches of it. That unit's ranged weapons are resolved at +1 strength, -1 AP, because there's stuff inside that gives you +1 strength and -1 AP, apparently.
Okay.
Life support nodes. This makes a lot of sense on a world like this. They've been constructed here. Many of these ancient devices, while unreliable, are still mainly operational. So roll a dice for each objective marker at the start of the battle round, and to see if they're operational. On a 2+, units within 3 inches of the objective marker must ignore all effects of all battlefield twists in play.
Mm-hmm.
So unlike the armor one, the hardened armor, where you may ignore. So like in the event of low gravity, you're gonna, sure, I'll ignore. I don't want to ignore that. I love being able to fly if I'm infantry. Well, in this case, the nodes actually suppress all the battlefield twists within 3 inches.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. This one also has terrain traits. So you roll a d3 and you apply it to all. Disrepair. The structures are they've been left here a long time, so they're just very old and decrepit, and they might collapse and do mortal wounds. Razor sharp geology. So the rock formations are kind of this brittle silicate, or maybe even diamonds, and one false step could be very deadly. Again, it's like a charge or run roll might do mortal wounds. Sheltered position. People who built the structures built them to provide protection from the harsh environment, which actually stands to reason. They're not just external like fuel tanks or whatever. They're actually designed to protect against the environment. So if you're wholly within 2 inches of an artificial terrain feature, you can ignore the battlefield twists.
Okay.
There's 2 stratagems. One is Sanctuary Field. Your warlord basically gets a bubble of protection. Then the next is Weather Report. The Force Commander actually read the weather report before going into battle. So if Hoodoo is in play, you can change the direction of the wind by 1 direction. Okay. Next is the Hellforge. So this combines the Forge world and the Demon world.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice that some of the rules actually are literally combined between the two.
Yeah.
So there's battlefield twists. This is different. There aren't 6 of them, but it's a d6 table. So the first one is a 1 to 2 on a d6, and this is the hazardous fumaroles. A Hellforge's corruption is not skin deep. They are damned right down to their very core, and this can manifest in a variety of ways. So for this one, you're going to use the hazardous fumaroles rules on page 23 of Psychic Awakening Engine War. I think we talked about this a few episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really cool table. It just represents all kinds of weird, hellish stuff ejecting from the ground. It's not great.
No. None of these places are, camping areas.
That's not fun.
No.
3 is Nightmare Physics. The twisted minds at work in this Forge world have warped everything they've touched. Every sensory input reports wrongness. The acrid scent of chemicals can smell sweet and deadly. Adamantium bulkheads can be soft and furry with sharp teeth. And oil slicks can be hard as ice. So before a unit moves, you'll roll a dice, roll a d3. On a 1, subtract 2 from their maximum move. On a 3, add 2. Also, you're not required to count vertical distance when moving over industrial terrain features.
Okay.
So you're just crazily walking over everything.
Yeah. Just kind of bouncing around. Yeah.
Bouncing around the room. 4, touched by the warp. This world exists between layers of reality, perhaps even on the verge of or within a warp storm. The Immaterium bathes everything with its sickly influence. You will actually pick one of the Demon World battlefield twists instead of...
Ooh, boy. That's impressive. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think what's terrifying, as we're looking at this, the next one is 5 to 6, Hellscape. And this world has been so badly corrupted by the works of the Dark Mechanicum that it has become inhospitable to life. So you're going to roll on, the Dead World Battlefield Twists table from the supplement, and you're going to re-roll the result of a 6.
Yeah, you're not going to play 2. That's what that result is. But yeah, because the Dead World table is perfect if you want to have some more variety.
Yeah. Wow.
So terrain traits. The terrain can either be haunted, corrupted, auto. So this one, roll a different one for each terrain feature.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like we talked about before. So it could be haunted. The souls of the damned torment and distract all those who draw near. -2 leadership.
Ooh.
2 is corrupted auto simulacra. So instead of repairing vehicles, it damages all the vehicles within range of the within 2 inches of the terrain feature.
I like that. I don't think the orcs would, but I like that.
We don't like this place. The next is biomechanical abattoir. So here is where people are ensnared, so their souls can be extracted for more foul purposes. So it's just a random roll to see if they can't move, and they might even suffer a mortal wound because their soul is extracted for use as raw materials. 4 is a rendering facility, so smoke pours out of the pipes, and you get the feature becomes dense cover. Experimental lab equipment. So the dark tech magi of this world have given sentience to some vile technology within this edifice. Its mad connection to the Immaterium permeates everything around it. You can't fire Overwatch. You can't gain any bonuses to your attacks characteristic. Also, psychers within 2 inches suffer perils on doubles.
Okay.
That's experimental lab equipment. It's very dangerous. 6. It's just spooky. No additional features. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, right?
That's right.
So this place has mysterious objective markers. Again, you will recognize some of this. Possess tech. The technology. This is one where you select a different mysterious objective marker for each one.
Okay.
The technology here has a mind of its own. Models do not count towards holding this objective marker unless they are a psyker or they have the troops battlefield role. So it kind of defies control. 2 is unreliable uplink. So this unassuming communications uplink is actually the home of a malevolent block of scrap code that delights in rerouting communications to random destinations and watching chaos ensue. So if you're holding it, if your warlord is holding the objective, roll a dice. On a 1 to 2, your opponent gains a command point. On a 5 to 6, you gain a command point. Fulminating power vein. So basically, lightning is striking this big copper vein, bathing the immediate vicinity in impure levels of the motive force. So it's possible that the vehicle could suffer mortal wounds, but it also increases the strength of its ranged weapons.
Oh, okay.
Reroll failed hit rolls too. That's pretty neat. Fluctuating grav wave generator. So it looks like a normal grav wave generator, but it's malfunctioning. So normally you would subtract 2 from the charge distance if something is charging a unit holding the objective.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it'll be a 50-50 chance of either adding 2 or subtracting 2. Because it's either drawing you towards it or pushing you away. Entropic scatter field. It's kind of a combo of the entropic field and the scatter field. It basically it degrades weapons fire as it comes in. So they are all weapons fire against a unit holding the objective is AP 0, despite its normal AP.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 6 is Viate Conduit. So the blood of martyrs and sacrifice psychers pumps through the world's manufactorums and fuel the progress of damned industry. Chaos vehicles within 3 inches add 1 to their strength. And their ranged weapons add 1 to their own strength as well. Psychers within 3 inches may choose to suffer a mortal wound as they drink the blood. And then they can manifest any psychic power from their discipline, even if they don't know the power.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got an interesting gameplay thing that could be done there.
Mm-hmm.
Do the what was the one where you can heal yourself from Zinch? Like you burn your mortal wound for that to then charge yourself back up.
Sit there drinking blood.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really odd, but I mean, it would be a fascinating narrative.
So, I like the stratagems for this one. I'm happy with the first one because they're kind of introducing using a stratagem, but also incorporating actions.
Yeah.
So it's called Cleanse Corruption. It's 2 CP. If you're within 3 inches of a terrain feature or mysterious objective marker you control, or a hazardous fumarole, that unit can perform Cleanse Sight to negate the abilities of that mysterious objective or fumarole or terrain feature.
Okay, yeah.
It could be a Psyker, Order Hereticus, Inquisitor, Adeptus Sororitas, Chaplain, Black Templar, Khorne character, or Adeptus Ministorum. And I think with all the weird, crazy rules going on all over the table, I think it's a good idea to have an ability that lets you cleanse it.
Yeah.
You could, if you wanted to, use that as a way to gain extra CP.
Right.
Oh, sorry, gain extra XP.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
you can even use that as part of the scenario is that you have to cleanse at least one, at least one terrain feature or whatever. Maybe 2. I mean,
yeah, you could say not only is it an agenda where you'll gain like whoever cleanses the most, whoever cleanses the most gets extra experience, but it also might be you need to do this in order to gain victory points.
Right. Yeah, I think that stratagem can be used for a lot more things.
Right. Yeah, we could enjoy. Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
And that if it were part of the mission, then you wouldn't want to spend CP for it. You would actually have it just be a normal action you can take once per turn. Then Tortured Machine Spirit is the second one. Most sentient machines would rather face oblivion than spend a moment longer in this hellscape. Use a stratagem before seeing if a vehicle explodes. Add 2 to the result. Like, nope. No thank you. Kaboom.
Which would then mean that your vehicle would end up on the next world we talk about.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah. Well, hopefully, if there's enough pieces left.
I've got Segway going, yeah.
Segway. This is my favorite one.
Yeah.
a wreckage field throughout the galaxy, the rusted detritus of countless cultures, both human and otherwise, litter the landscapes of countless worlds. Wreckage fields contain everything from the hulking skeletal remains of colossal war machines to mountains of everyday items, some of which the function of which has been lost to time. Only a fool would fail to see the value such places can hold. Often these places are rich in resources if you're patient enough to salvage them, or if you have enough indentured servants to do it for you. A wreckage field's natural camouflage offers excellent protection from prying eyes, and the unpredictable atmospheric conditions and rad levels often pose too great a risk for more discerning looters. As such, the wreckage field has become a haven for the downtrodden of many societies. It's not long before places such as this become a common battlefield, whether it be warring factions fighting over resources, or the locals repelling extermination forces, or several armies meeting on the field of battle to recover a lost artifact.
Yep.
So there are 3 special rules for this one. The first is scrap heap. All terrain features are difficult ground.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say that is a thing. Detritus from across the galaxy. So this does use mysterious objectives. However, instead, randomly pick any other theater of war and roll on its random mysterious objective table. And do that for each of the objective markers. So it could be literally anything that makes sense, because it's a scrap heap.
Yeah.
Next is unpredictable topography. It's deceptive under normal circumstances, let alone in the heat of combat. So you never know when, in a chaotic situation, you'll find themselves... what kind of chaotic situation you'll find themselves in once you're in the thick of it. So at the start of the game, so there are twists and environmental conditions in this game, but you're not always going to get both, at least not right off the bat. On a roll of dice, on a 1 to 3, select a twist. On a 4 to 5, select an environmental condition. On a 6, then select one of each. Now, if at the start of the game you actually didn't roll for an environmental condition, so if you just rolled a 1 to 3, roll a dice at the start of the 3rd battle round. On a 4+, an environmental condition starts.
Yeah.
So, some event happened at that point to cause the environmental condition to suddenly be in effect. So that's not something you can prepare for every game. So here are the twists. This is D3. Rust rats, and it's not necessarily rats.
Yeah.
So the true lords of the region are vermin who make their home among the refuse. There's still enough biological material remaining to sustain them, or they simply feed off the metallics and polymers of the trash itself. Whatever the case, the armies doing battle above are no less a treat. So at the start of each battle round, you roll a dice, and for each unit that doesn't have another unit within 6 inches, so if it's isolated, that's the only time these scavengers would actually attack, is if they felt they had superior numbers and you're not supported.
Yeah.
And then they're attacked and they take mortal wounds. Claimed territory. So it's a place that once belonged to another faction, but wasn't properly scouted by either of the forces to realize that until you got there. So you roll a dice for each terrain feature that you entered for the first time. On a 1 to 3, the unit who entered the feature finds a supply cache, and you get a command point. Otherwise, you're going to take mortal wounds from a booby trap. 3 is scrap maze. The twisting tunnels of clear ground are difficult to navigate without taking an exposed position atop the mountains of Detrius. It's easy to become lost and arrive where you least intend. So when you arrive from strategic reserves, you assign a number to each short battlefield edge and each half of the 2 long battlefield edges.
Mm-hmm.
And the unit has to be set up along that part of the battlefield edge, outside of 6 inches of enemy models. If they can't be deployed, they're put back into strategic reserves.
Got it.
So you ignore all other rules for strategic reserves, and they just arrive on whatever battlefield you roll.
Got it. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Environmental conditions. So there's 3 of these. The first one is a rad/chem leak. So either there's a leaking chemical tank nearby or a plasma furnace that's on fire.
Mm-hmm.
All models suffer a -1 to wound in the combat phase unless they are standing above ground level, even on a hill. Pervasive fires. So there's either a promethium leak or methane burn-off. Much of the region is on fire. So any terrain feature which would normally have the breachable trait does not have that trait. Because it's on fire,
mm-hmm.
you're not gonna walk through fire.
Right.
And they're also all obscuring. Unstable ground. So it's just like this layer of junk is the most recent layer of junk and is actually on top of an earlier layer of junk. And the ground is not to be trusted.
Yeah.
So units, other vehicles, and monsters which do not fly. So there's these big heavy machines or monsters. They roll a dice after they charge or run. On a 4+, their movement is reduced to 0, and they cannot pile in or consolidate until the end of your next turn. They get stuck.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. We're in the home stretch. We have 2 stratagems to talk about. One is Weird Hill to Die On, 3 CP. This...
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's all too easy to cause a major disturbance in nearby scrap piles. So you use the stratagem in the shooting phase. When shooting at an enemy unit that's within 6 inches of a hill feature. When you do that, move the hill feature until it is within 1 inch of the same enemy unit. Any models that are standing on the hill go along with it, and then you deal D3 mortal wounds to the unit.
I love this one. When I read it last night, I was like, yes, this is awesome.
Thanks. Well, Weird Hill to Die On, at least you're dead.
Yeah.
Ambush from Within, 2 CP. It basically just lets you set up units from strategic reserves into a terrain feature instead of the battlefield edge. But all other rules apply. You can't be closer or anything like that. And that is the wreckage field. Yeah. And we are done for now.
Yeah.
So I hope, folks, what you'll do is whoever's still listening out there after 3 hours of fun,
they love us. What are you talking about?
It's been a while since we had narrative rules discussion, so this is nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice change of pace from just going through most recent lore and narrative play rules and stuff, so it's nice. I don't want to play a game of 40K without using one of these years before.
Yeah.
I think they're all really cool, and I'm talking about in general all of them.
Yeah.
I think it adds a nice layer of complexity for narrative players.
I do too. I mean, there's so much cool stuff that, that one you've created and also that G-Dubs has given us. And, makes it much more interesting than the here, let's set up a Dawn of War game. And
So I definitely am. We're definitely going to use the Necron ones for my game with Mark, we'll set that up and we'll talk about it maybe in the next episode or the episode after.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that our next game we're definitely going to use Webway again.
Yes, we are.
Depending on what kind of story we want to unfold there, we should definitely get that game in sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But folks, try these out or at least read through them and send us some emails or some messages on Facebook. I would suggest email because Facebook groups or Facebook pages are just the worst.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
I don't always get the message requests, and some of them I've gotten months after they were sent. So yeah,
I've had a few that never went through that I just happened to notice later. So yeah, they're not
you
great.
go in there and you're like, you just happen to be in there and you're like, what are all these unread messages? It's weird. So anyways, let's take a quick break and come back to close out the show.
Come here, boy, get the ball. Come on, Max, get the ball. Mom, Max won't get the ball. He's lazy.
I think I know why your Zote is being lazy, Jenny.
Why, Mom?
Because you forgot to feed him his Zotabix today.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Zotabix contains all the nutrients and random animal parts a growing Zote craves. It not only provides our Zote with the energy it needs to play with you and protect our home, but it also keeps its chitinous shell fresh and shiny.
Oh, boy. I'd better feed Max his Zotabix.
Yes, you had.
Zotabix is made in part from grade
Max,
A
time for
Astra
dinner.
Militarum post-engagement byproduct and is infused with 112 essential vitamins
No,
and
Max,
minerals
down.
harvested from your Zote's natural habitat, the finest desert deserts. Zotabix is available in any shopping center on worlds where Zotes are allowed or where the Imperium's inexorable influence has not yet reached.
Hey, mofos. Are you looking for more Warhammer 40k video content? Well, the Scarred Cast posts regular battle reports as well as tactics and strategy videos. Be sure to check out all the cool hobby content for the avid tabletop wargamer. That's Scarred Cast, Skared on YouTube.
So I'm very tired. How about you?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Fortunately, I don't have to start until early or till afternoon tomorrow. So, yeah,
excellent. Lovecraft Country is on now, so I'm looking forward to one. That'll probably be next time's Beyond the Fringe.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Next episode is going to be our 150. It'll probably be some more conversational topic. So this was a very crunchy, detail-oriented topic. Next topic is going to be whatever we can manage while drinking. So
I'm good with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun. So tune in for that. It'll not be on Twitch, though it should. How great would that be? We should definitely do that.
Oh, that could be absolutely terrifying.
How's your video camera?
I've actually got two good video cameras now, so that's kind of terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, we should. We'll put on some makeup.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Oh,
well, not like sexy time makeup. I'm saying just like.
Are you talking like New York Dolls type of makeup or
no,
Twisted Sister?
Like theatrical.
New York Dolls is theatrical. Yeah. You mean like actually like make us look like humans? Oh.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Go big or go home.
Well, I'll at least take a shower.
Oh, well, okay, fine. We're going to be bourgeois about it.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how drunk I can get to the point where I can balance the safety of like bouncing my kid on my knee while drinking.
Yeah, let's not test that one. I don't know.
You say so, dude.
Yeah, why do I have to be the adult in this one?
You're such a killjoy. All right, dude.
All right,
everybody. So next week, like I said, we're going to be drinking, but after that, we'll definitely be talking about the games we've been playing, the narrative games, and the crusade that we've been running. As far as the actual topic, I'm not sure what that's going to be. We have a few things in the hopper. I actually was kind of hoping we could talk about the Chaos Knights, because I don't think they've been accepted into the fold as much.
Yeah.
They've been basically used as a way of improving the matched play capabilities of mixed chaos armies. People really don't think of them from a narrative perspective.
Right.
So I think I want to do it in 151. I think I want to do a deep dive on Chaos Knights.
Yeah. We've got the Engine War book, so yeah.
We do. All right, great. Well, until then,
play the game the way you want to.
We'd love it if you could give us a positive rating and review on iTunes.
If you'd like to keep in contact with us, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter by searching for Masters of the Forge. And you can follow our hobby progress on Instagram with the hashtag Masters of the Forge.
You can also contact us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com if you have any questions, topic suggestions, or if you'd like to advertise your creative hobby endeavor. Thanks again for listening.
This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com. The music used in this podcast was made by Parad of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling.